starting right away. Abel and So Lewin Amo Diok. I hope I got it right today. Good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. Yes, you got it right.
I got it right.
And good morning to and good morning to all your listeners.
Right, great.
It's a pleasure to be on this morning and to join me. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you as well. Of course, this is a news review segment, and we want to go through some headlines. What is making waves in the world of, in news, whether in business, some politics and all of that. Talk to me. Do you have some headlines already?
Yeah, so I think in Ghana here, yesterday, the president visited Bako and Malawi on the Bako crisis. And also, during, some parts of the day, the 10 regions, he nominated regional ministers designated for 10 regions. And I think also, if I followed, two also maintained that they are against the privatization of ECG, which the incoming minister designate for energy and green transition has intimated that within 6 months they are going to work on. And then also some appointment to the mineral investment, the mineral income and investment fund made yesterday. I think
you could give us the portals.
Yes. From my job, both from my Joy Online and then City Newsroom.
Okay.
Yes. These few ones.
All right. Okay. So
you can add some from your end.
Yes. Okay. So the Catholic bishops are telling President Mahama that nothing should stop you from passing anti-LGBTQ plus bill, and that is coming from City Newsroom. Also, what you need to know about the regional ministerial, I think that is what you mentioned a few minutes ago. We probably might touch on that a little. Now, in the world of business, also on the City Newsroom, we see that IMF hails Akufo-Addo's economic reforms, COVID-19 fight. IMF boss, actually, not IMF itself, IMF boss. And then over 400 million Ghana cedis unaccounted for in ECG's monthly revenue. This is from the Honorable John Abdullah Jinapo. And then 7-member committee to spearhead possible privatization of ECG. And also IMF program won't be abandoned. These are a few of the ones that I have. We can start having a conversation around what you mentioned, and then as and when we add some more.
Exactly. Yes. So I'd like to have a bite on the Bako crisis issue.
Okay.
I think yesterday the president was in Bako, met the Bako Naba, and I followed that. Later, he was also supposed to be in Alirigu to meet the Nairis to also have conversations. I don't know if that happened, but I know that he was with Bako and he met the Bako Naba, and he reiterated his promise to ensure that the lasting peace is brought back to Bako. But if you have followed the Bako issue very well, Bako is a very vibrant town. Very close to the border in Burkina Faso. The border at the Burkina Faso area, and a major trading hub, pre-colonial era and even till now. So it is in our own interest that we find lasting peace to the crisis in Bako. And I've always maintained that the Bako crisis cannot, and it will not be resolved by legal battles in courts and also maybe security forces wielding guns and moving about in the town. No, it has to take the major interests that are involved in the crisis. That is both the Nayiri and also the Bokunaba to sit around the table, judge and bring a very conclusive decision, make a very conclusive decision on this particular matter. Aside the crisis to the people, the lives that have been lost, I'm told if you look at the data, in the last few months, maybe 3 to 4 months now, about 48 lives have been lost in Boko as a result of the crisis. In fact, no one's life should be taken. No one's life.
Right.
We talk about 48 lives that have been lost as a result of this crisis. Aside the lives, the properties, the distractions that has gone on in Boko, it's an eyesore. And also the pressure that it has brought to government services within the Upper East region, because most people are now moving from Boko area because of the crisis. Because peace cannot be guaranteed, people are now moving to areas within Bolga, among others.
Right.
Banks have closed down. Other essential service providers in the Boko enclave have all left. And when it happens like that, the people move into other municipalities. Those government amenities that have been built in those municipalities they were built and meant to take care of a certain number.
Right.
So when the numbers increase, all of a sudden, the pressure that is brought to those facilities, the lifespan of those facilities, then is shortened. So aside all these issues, it's also the major issue of security within our sub-region, the West African sub-region. And you know that, as I mentioned, Boko is a border town, so very close to the border. And there are some little disturbances within some of our neighboring countries. You don't want people to use that as a platform to infiltrate the countries, the borders of the country.
Right.
And so it is our own interest, everybody, all citizens, stakeholders involved in this, it is in our collective interest to find lasting peace. And I must say that the president has started very well.
Right.
Some concerns have been expressed that, as a president, there are concerns of maybe people saying, he has personal interest and what have you. But I've maintained that the president is a Gonja. What is a Gonja's interest is to serve him on pushy fight. But I think that the president's interest is that of the public.
Right.
And the public interest is that we find lasting peace in Boko. And the president's move, if it clearly indicates that we have to find lasting peace, that lasting peace must be found devoid of political considerations among others.
Right.
We need peace, and that is all we are all asking for.
Right.
Yes.
Very, very, very salient point you make there. Now, the president actually assured the people of Boko, that he's going to make some key security appointments this week to address the crisis, which I think it's something very laudable. But I mean, away from that, you mentioned that you really commend the president for what he is doing, because I think that he's hit the ground running. I don't know whether it's just for the next 120 days as he had promised, but he's been going up and about, and I think we should even pray for him because of his health and all of that. Yeah. Because the way he's working.
I mean, he's been in power before, and like he's been he's worked through his way from the lower units within our local government now to president, and having been in power before and then to opposition in 8 years, I think he has clarity of thought. He has understanding of how our system is and how to navigate around it.
Yeah.
And of course, maybe the 120 days are also part of the reason that is pushing him about. But he seems very confident. He seems very clear in his mind what he's doing.
Right.
And so far, you've realized that all the decisions that he's taking are pinpointing. If you do correct analysis, devoid of partisan lenses, you see that all the decisions and all his moves have been pointing in one direction, that the country's governance is on the right track again. The people are beginning to see hope. People are beginning to feel that, maybe we made, but it is early days yet, right? Exactly. Early days yet to. It's going to be a very long journey. Right. 4 years, of course, in itself is a short journey, but it's going to be a long journey. It's been some few days, but if the accounts have a saying that Robert yes, it starts in the morning. So if these are signs of better days, we pray that he sticks to his promise, his social contract with the people of Ghana, and he's beginning to deliver on that. And every Ghanaian must be excited. The support he's receiving from Ghanaians should mean that everybody means well. Right. And so if we mean well and we are holding to our end of the bargain, the president must also go to this end of the bargain and deliver to that. And that is all we as citizens have always asked for, and we continue to ask for. Right. The president that delivers according to the social contract that he has to the people.
Yeah, exactly. So still on that matter, the National Peace Council have said that Mohammed's visit to Baku is critical for lasting peace. Yeah, so they've been commending President Mahama. It's very important that we mention that one. Now, also in Wale Wale, I don't know if you know what is going on, but there are some, scores of people injured as soldiers are accused of brutal assault. Now, I just want to read a little of that story. Now, dozens of residents in Wale Wale Northeast region have reportedly sustained severe injuries after a violent crackdown by armed military personnel. Witnesses claim the soldiers ordered people to lie face down before beating them with wire cans, while others were forced to roll on the ground and tortured with an object described as mesh wire. Many victims suffered severe lacerations and fractures, with at least two receiving treatment from a traditional bone specialist. The motive behind the rampage remains unclear, though a police source linked it to the recent burning of a truck transporting vegetables from Misigat to Kumasi, allegedly tied to the ongoing Baku conflict. Now, victims recounted harrowing experiences, stating that soldiers in armored vehicles raided shops and gathering spots, forcing people to the ground and assaulting them with the wire cans. Even workers at their shops and a group of NDC supporters resting in a pavilion were reportedly brutalized. And somebody says that, I don't know why they beat me. That's a 34-year-old motorbike mechanic who, along with his customers, were attacked while working. Now, the issue about military attacking people, I think that's an issue of contention in this particular place. Over the years, we have seen a few times where certain things are done and then the military comes in. When the military comes in, you don't listen to anybody. Right? Yeah.
I think it's a very sad development for me, from a security point of view, and of course as a citizen. Nobody should be subjected to inhumane treatment. The law says that no one is guilty until proven so. So regardless of what the issue is, I think the security forces always have one job: identify the perpetrators, arrest them, and put them before court. If proven guilty, the perpetrators must serve the right sentence.
Yeah.
Inhumane treatment, beating people, lashing people. We are in a democracy. It is an experiment that we've chosen for ourselves as a people. And that experiment we've been on, at least in the last 3 decades, yes, there are shortcomings, but these shortcomings are becoming unbecoming.
Right.
Okay? I mean, in other jurisdictions, you hardly have military involvement in internal security until it becomes very dark that the police now invite them in. Okay? It is early days yet in the administration, but I think that the president and the commander-in-chief, the president and commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Force, he must pump his foot on the ground that these military invasion of towns without proper justification whatsoever that we've witnessed in the last 4 years, in fact, at a point in Parliament, must not be seen again, no matter the circumstances.
Right.
Military invasion of towns, ransacking people and beating them mercilessly cannot be justified. We've chosen democracy for ourselves. Our constitution provides freedoms and rights of citizens. If at any point in time wrongs have been perpetrated, it is up to the internal security to find those people.
Right.
Find those people and arrange them before court.
Yeah.
That is the only way. That must be the only way, because that is what we've chosen for ourselves. We did not choose other forms of government. We chose democracy for ourselves, and we, the people of Ghana, said that we like democracy, and we understand that some processes of our democratic dispensation can be very slow. It can be very painful. You know, it can be very expensive, but that is what we've chosen for ourselves as a people.
Right.
And so we must learn. I think the NCC has a job, and other state institutions, that we must bring people up to date with what the experiments we've chosen for ourselves. People must understand that this is what we've chosen for ourselves, and that understanding must also accommodate the excesses, the small, delays in or let me say the shortfalls of democracy in addressing issues with immediate effect.
Right.
So there's a lot of education to be done, and once we get some few things right, I think that some of these things will be a thing of the past. National security is there. What is intelligence gathering? If something has happened in Wale Wale, are we saying that what happened, national security cannot find the perpetrators in a manner that is security-driven, intelligence-driven? Is that what we are saying? That every time, look at what happened in Ashama, look at what happened in Botsiano and other areas. Yes. I think that these issues are sometimes when you see some of these things, then you wonder if Ghana is a banana republic. That must not be so. Yes, that must not be so.
It mustn't be so. It mustn't be so. We shouldn't be subjecting ourselves to this ridicule, because if all the time something happens in a particular locality, then it can affect anybody. Today it is in Wale Wale, but next time it could be in your community. You don't know who will go and do something, and then you are just at your shop, or you are just sitting, maybe they stop your car or something, you're on your way to work, whatever, and then they begin to brutalize you. And so we need to call on state the state security, and of course, as you mentioned, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, President Mahama should be able to work around something like that, which should help us going forward. So the call is to the leaders, those in charge of state security, to ensure that these things will be a thing of the past in the coming days. Yeah, and so I don't. Which other news item would you want to touch on?
Oh yes, I think yesterday the 10 regional ministers designate appointment to the youth. I think the Ashanti regional minister designate Dr. Amoakohene, Dr. Frank Amoakohene, a very young man, I think 33 years of age, medical professional, excellent training. He served at various student wings before, been looked president before, and I mean, I must say that he has distinguished himself in student leadership, and also right from there moved into active politics. Things he contested. I think it's in Mampong. Yes, he contested for the Mampong
MP.
Yes, seat and lost.
Yeah.
And subsequently moved to the Ashanti region, became the NDC General Secretary, worked hard for his party, and today the party and the president nomination of him as a regional minister designate is a step that reaffirms the president's commitment to youth involvement in his administration.
And I have seen a lot of people commend him. Congratulate him and all of that. Congratulate, Frank and all of that. I don't know him that much. I just had to read a little about him yesterday. Yes, but the feedback from social media, from what I have seen, is very positive.
Yes. And I think that congratulations to him are in order. But I was even talking about the president, for the president to nominate him. So, issues of regional ministers have usually been reserved for elderly people.
Right, that's true.
They say, they have understanding of the complexities of the region and how to navigate certain issues and what have you. I think at the end of the day, every ministerial appointment must be underpinned by competence and also the individual's ability to influence development positively in that region. And that, for me, at every point, must be the two guiding principles. And age really must not be a factor. We must be building a society where there's conscientization of the people, that we must understand that being youthful does not mean that you do not have understanding of the complexities of society, that you do not have the understanding that can drive development, that you do not have the understanding that can bring people together. Ashanti region is a very big region. Traditionally, culturally, huge. He has huge and enormous responsibilities on his shoulders. But I believe in the ability of youth to deliver when given the right support, the right confidence, and all the right tools to deliver. And if I look at Dr. Frank Amoakohimi's trajectory, where he's risen from and how he's gotten here by dint of his hard work and his determination and commitment, I think he's going to deliver. And we will encourage the president that this bold step that he's taking must reflect in other ministerial appointments that are yet to be made. That the youth must be given a chance, that the youth must be brought to the table. Our thinking, our feelings and everything must be brought to the table. Because if you look really at if you look critically at our population, we constitute more than half of Ghana's population, according to the last population census. So we have a huge stake in the future of the country. And so we cannot be sidelined. And that is where, for me, my commendation of the president is coming from, that he's shown so far. If you look at even the 3 substantive ministerial nominations he has done, John Abdullah Jinapor, relatively very young guy. If you consider him, even though he's been in parliament for at least 4 terms or so, I think this will be his 4th term, he is relatively also very young. If you look at the finance minister, Dr. Kassel Atoba-Forson, also relatively very young, comparative to what we've seen in the last administration. Young people are for this country. This country is young people. The future is young people, and young people must be at the table. And if the president is seeing this and he's bringing young people to the table, he must be commended very, very highly. And that is why I say, Mr. President, wherever you are this morning, thank you for recognizing young people, that young people can also do the job. And we pray that all the right support and the necessary tools that will make this appointment successful be given to the individual involved, and it shall end well. Thank you.
Right. So, I mean, looking at it, I mean, apart from the youthful, because I have seen that just a few of the people, like Honorable Akamugri, Atanga.
Yes,
Akamugri. Yes, Donatus. He's of age a bit, but apart from him, I think most of the appointees are quite young, and particularly when you look at the Greater Accra minister designates, Madam Linda Oklu. She is also quite young. But then we can talk a bit about the gender bit of it, because I've seen people raise concerns about out of 10 regional ministers, you give only 3 ladies the opportunity at the table and all of that. I don't know what you have to say about it.
The president said 30%, that he will make sure that his appointees, at least 30% of females will have representation in his government.
Wow.
We must hold the president by his words. We cannot put words in the mouth of the president.
Right.
He made that promise to us. He has a social contract with the people of Ghana. And in that social contract with the people of Ghana, the president recognizes. I think that the least person that people must have issues with when it comes to gender representation in his government is President Mahama. This is somebody who, even when his party came at him with enormous pressure to change his running mate, he stood by her and said, she is the one that will help us deliver.
Right.
He believed in women empowerment is not questionable. Cannot be questioned. Because if not for anything, today Ghana has its first ever female vice president because of the president. And we know how running mate nominations are done. It is the prerogative of the presidential candidate. He can choose to, he can decide not. Yet, when he chose, and what happened in 2020, a lot of his party people felt that the running mate did not deliver. But the president believed and stood by her. And today we have a female vice president. First in the history of this country. First among many other countries. Even in the United States of America, the beacon of democracy. They've been struggling to have it. And so we must understand some of these things. And the fact that gender parity is not tokenism. The president cannot, just because he wants to achieve some gender parity, be tokenist in giving appointment to women. No. These are people who have also worked for their party. You must have worked for the party. You must come to the party with strong credentials. You must belong to the tradition. And when the president is looking critically into it, and these are the people, of course, this is 30%. We are yet to see. We can only encourage that in the subsequent, he has appointed a woman to the Minerals Income and Investment Fund.
Yes.
People are not talking about that. That is his first appointment to his first appointment of a CEO. And the first appointment of a CEO is a woman. People are not talking about that. I think that the conversation about gender must not be made to seem like a constant fight and struggle to prove a point. No. Where there are deliberate measures to ensure that this parity is achieved, we must acknowledge it. Where there are other shortfalls, we can criticize. But I think so far, the president is the least person that people should be calling out on issues of gender parity. He has proven that he has that track record. And I think that going forward, we'll see other substantial appointments where women will play a critical role. But as we do this, we must also encourage. We must keep encouraging women to develop themselves. It is not also enough to develop yourself. You must find yourself in the political space.
Right.
It is a risk. When the men enter and take the risk, we cannot say that let's be tokenists and give the opportunities to women. No, the women must also take the risk. And when they take the risk, all of us as a society must support them.
Right.
To become successful at that. And
Right.
it is at that stage that they can now be given opportunity to serve in this area. Because most of these appointments, if you know what goes into regional ministers' nominations and that of MMDA, mostly controlled by the party. You know, the parties at the regional level do consultations and they bring nominees to the president. And the president has to sit through and look at this. I don't know if you've seen the leaked letter from the general secretary to the regional executives of the party to constitute committees and vet MMDA's chief executive applicants. I don't know if you've seen that letter. Where
no, I haven't.
This is being done it's being done at party level.
Right.
So if you are a woman and you are not at the grassroots level of the party, it becomes difficult for you to get some of these appointments.
Right. But of course,
that is the point I'm making.
But of course, I mean,
yes.
I think there are some 6 more to go. Bono East and a few other regions that we are expecting.
And that's why I said, yes. That's why I said we pray that a lot of women will get the opportunity to serve in other areas. But just like I'm saying that we must also encourage. It's all of us, our responsibility. We have young sisters, we have aunties who are doing well. Sometimes they don't want to get involved because they feel that the political space is a bit not welcoming. But we must all encourage them to get involved. And so that when they get involved and they are delivering, when opportunities like this come, they cannot be overlooked. That is the point I'm making.
Right.
Of course, there are other qualified women who can serve in some of the positions that the men are serving. But sometimes it is also your involvement within the political space. What is your contribution to the political party? What's your involvement in the party's structure and in the party's building its structure? If you are not involved, it becomes difficult. Because don't forget that the chance part of the president's victory is made by the party. And so while the president has the prerogative to do the appointment, he's also thinking of his party. If you don't appreciate the party's effort, the next elections, you'll be in opposition.
That's true.
So it's a very complex issue, not straightforward.
Right.
For me. Yeah.
Well, very, 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 very good points you make. Now let's settle finally on the issue about the LGBTQ bill, which I believe that is very sensitive anyway. But the Catholic bishops urge Mahama to pass anti-LGBTQ bill without delay or hesitation. But I think the story reads that during a meeting with the bishops on January 14, that was yesterday, President Mahama suggested that a government-sponsored bill will be more effective than the current private members' bill. Now, he highlighted the importance of broad consultations and a national consensus to ensure its smooth passage. What are your thoughts on that before we go?
Yes, I think the Catholic bishop's advice to the president came from the president's own response. I think the president had articulated that there's a need for national consensus and broad-based consultation, like he said, on the LGBTQ. And that is why he said it must be led by government.
Right.
But what other people have expressed concerns about is that this is the president who, in opposition, was urging the president, the then president, to sign a bill sponsored by private members. So if now you think that it must be government-led, you must be magnanimous in how you put that point across. And for me, that is why I was saying somewhere else yesterday that the president could have said that we recognize the importance of this bill.
Yeah.
We recognize the socio-cultural, religious values of our society, and because of how important the government attaches to this particular exercise, the government have decided to initiate this process from cabinet and then to get a national buy-in.
Right.
But where he said, "Oh, this must be government, this must not be private-led," I think if he juxtaposes with his own past call for the president to attend to a private member's bill, then it doesn't do justice. People felt that he was giving excuses. But I think that generally he was trying to make this bigger picture conversation that I've just put across, that this is something that concerns the entire nation. The entire nation has expressed interest in it, and the government of Ghana, because of that, and giving this opportunity where the process has to start from scratch, the government of Ghana has decided to, in fact,
all right, Abel, thank you so much for joining me. We have to go because our time is fast spent. But thank you for your thoughts. Hopefully, we get to speak again tomorrow. So if you're listening to me, this is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. Up next is the business news with Samuela Inchi.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Hello and welcome to the business news segment on Business Breakfast on Zed. Coming up, President Mahama appoints acting CEO for the Minerals Income and Investment Fund. And on the international scene, SEC lawsuit targets Elon Musk over alleged disclosure violation. Also, Meta prepares for mass layoffs as part of performance review. I am Samuela Inchi. Let's settle in for the details. President John Dramani Mahama has appointed Madam Justina Nelson, a seasoned banking professional, as the acting chief executive officer of the Minerals Income and Investment Fund, MIF. The decision comes 24 hours after the revocation of the appointment of the previous CEO, Mr. Edward Nanayao Cranton. The President's Secretary, Dr. Callistus Mahama, issued a letter dated January 13, 2025, announcing the termination of Mr. Cranton's appointment, effective immediately. The letter directed him to hand over responsibilities to Finance Minister-designate Dr. Kesel Atoforsen, who was tasked with overseeing the fund's operations until a new substantive CEO was appointed. Madam Nelson's appointment was made on January 14, 2025, through a formal letter that cited Article 195, Clause 1 of the Constitution and Section 21, Subsection 2 of the Minerals Income and Investment Fund, MIF Act 2018, Act 978. The MIF, established as part of a vision to leverage Ghana's mineral resources for economic growth, has garnered acclaim for its stellar performance. In 2023, the fund doubled its profit and significantly boosted revenue, with its assets under management projected to exceed $3 billion by December 2026. The fund's rapid growth was attributed to strong board governance, innovative strategies, and investment across the mineral value chain. Under its current trajectory, the MIF aims to become Africa's most admired and valuable sovereign wealth fund. Away from that, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has filed a lawsuit against Elon Musk, accusing him of failing to disclose his significant stake in Twitter within the required time frame. The regulator claims that this allowed Musk to purchase shares at artificially low prices, saving him $150 million in the process. SEC regulations requires investors to disclose holdings exceeding 5% within 10 days. Musk reportedly surpassed this threshold and disclosed his stake 21 days later. The SEC argues that the delay caused substantial economic harm to other investors. Following Musk's disclosure on April 4, 2022, Twitter's share price increased by more than 27%. Later that year, he completed the $44 billion acquisition of the platform and rebranded it as X. The lawsuit filed in a federal court in Washington, D.C. seeks to recover unjust profits and impose penalties on Musk. It also highlights long-standing tensions between Musk and the SEC. Under the leadership of Gary Gensler, the SEC has faced repeated clashes with Musk. Gensler announced plans to resign in January 2025 amid comments from the then president-elect Donald Trump about removing him upon taking office. Musk's legal troubles with the SEC date back to 2018 when he was charged with misleading investors over claims of securing funding to take Tesla private. He later settled and agreed to limitations on his social media activity regarding the company. Away from that, Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp, is preparing to cut approximately 5% of its global workforce as part of an effort to remove underperforming employees more swiftly. The company, which employs around 72,000 people worldwide, is expediting its regular performance-based cuts in response to anticipated challenges in the coming year. The job cuts, expected to affect thousands of employees, will be followed by a planned replacement of roles later in 2025. While Meta has not provided details on how the reductions will be distributed globally, employees in the United States are set to receive notifications by February 10. Those in other countries will be informed at a later date. This decision follows other major actions taken by Meta, including the discontinuation of its fact-checking and diversity programs. The company has framed these moves as part of a broader strategy to enhance team performance and streamline operations during what it anticipates to be an intense year. Performance-based job cuts are a common practice in corporate America. At Meta, this process typically unfolds over a year, but the company has opted to accelerate the timeline to align with its strategic goals for the year ahead. A recap of the headlines, our top stories for today. President Mahama appoints acting CEO for the Minerals Income and Investment Fund. And on the international scene, SEC lawsuit targets Elon Musk over alleged disclosure violation. Also, Meta prepares for mass layoffs as part of performance review. And that will be all for business news on Business Breakfast on Zed. You can follow us on ZFMGH on Instagram, Facebook and X, and Zed Multimedia on TikTok and YouTube. You can also visit www.zedmultimedia.com for more. Thank you for listening. I am Samuela Aintree. Up next is Sports Flash with Lukman Evergreen Moomin.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure and business platform.
First Sky Group, a wholly owned Guinean company made up of First Sky Construction, First Sky Bitumen Processing, First Sky Commodities, Volta Serene Hotel, Western Serene Atlantic Hotel, Serene Insurance, First Sky Energies, and Federal Rural Bank warmly invites you to its 22nd Thanksgiving service on the theme Proclaiming God's Unfailing Love, Romans 8:37. The Thanksgiving service in two parts will be hosted led by the founder and executive chairman, Mr. Eric Sedi Kutoche. There will be an all-night service on Friday, 17th January 2025 from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. at the Trinity Temple Assemblies of God Church, TTAG Community 10, Tema. Ministering in word, Reverend Mark Sessi, National Missions Director, Assemblies of God, Sierra Leone. Reverend Sujit Alex, FAM's North Area Leader, Assemblies of God, UK. Thanksgiving service follows on Sunday, 19th January 2025 at the main auditorium of the Accra International Conference Center. The time is 10 a.m. Guest speaker, Reverend Stephen Yensum Wingham, General Superintendent, Assemblies of God, Ghana. Chairman for the occasion, Most Reverend Professor Johnson Kwabena Asamoah Jedu, the presiding bishop, the Methodist Church Ghana. Ministering in music will be MOG Music. Also in attendance will be His Eminence Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, Reverend Professor Paul Frimpong Manso, immediate past General Superintendent, Assemblies of God, Ghana. Apostle General Sam Kwanchi Ankara, Royal House Chapel International, Reverend Steve Mensa, Charismatic Evangelistic Ministry, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Boafo, Apostle Professor Kwejo Opoku Onina, Reverend Dr. Lawrence Tete, Reverend Dr. Sylvanus Amegashiti, Elom Group Corporate Chaplain, First Sky Group, and many other senior clergy. For more details, please call 020-854-3441 or 0248-940-021. First Sky Group 22nd Thanksgiving Service, proclaiming God's unfailing love.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
The stage is set for something special.
It is time to go racing.
If you are descended from us,
Got that show! Oh wow! Oh wow! LeBron James with no regard for human life.
You couldn't write a script like this.
Here's Metzer. This is positive. Williams.
Kudos! The Korean joy did not last for long.
Oh my gosh, kudos.
Set back for Partey. Oh yes! Oh yes, Thomas Partey.
Hello, good morning. It's time for Sports Flash on Business Breakfast on Zed. My name is Lukman. Evergreen moment. And last night was epic in the Premier League. Now, City were given a wake-up call. Nottingham Forest showed why they are on top of the table. Now, Antoine Semenyo is in red-hot form. Mohamed Salisu also scored in France. And there is a shocker in the Australian Open. We've also got results from the NBA games that were played last night. But then we begin in the camp of the Ghana Football Association. Now, their president, Kurt Okreku, has officially filed his nomination to contest for a position on the Confederation of African Football Executive Committee. The elections scheduled for March 2025 could mark a significant milestone in Okreku's administrative career as he is running unopposed to represent the WAFU Zone B region. Still with the Ghana Football Association, they have unveiled the Swedish tactician Kim Lasjogegren as the new coach of the Black Queens, the national women's football team. Now, Kim Las, a seasoned coach with nearly 2 decades of experience, takes over from Nora Hoptel, whose tenure ended in December 2024 following the expiration of her contract with the Ghana Football Association. Several players from Ghana's 2009 Black Settlers World Cup winning team have declined to accept payments on their matured investment, citing concerns over the accounting process. Last week, the Ghana Football Association announced that SAS Finance Group had invited all 21 players from the Victoria squad to claim their matured investments. The investments, originally valued at 10,000 Ghana cedis per player, had grown over 15 years to 70,000 Ghana cedis, including 60,000 in accrued interest. While some players have collected their payouts, others have refused, demanding clarity on how the investments were managed. Away from the local scene to some African football news, and the Confederation of African Football has announced the rescheduling of the African Nations Championship, CHAN, originally slated for February 2025 in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Now, the tournament will now take place in August 2025. The decision reflects CAF's commitment to ensuring world-class infrastructure and facilities for the prestigious event. Well, CHAN is a tournament made for players applying their trades on the African continent. To Ghanaian players abroad, Antoine Semenyo scored a stunning goal for AFC Bournemouth on Tuesday night, ensuring his team picked a crucial point away from home in their game against Chelsea. The Ghanaian forward reflected on that goal.
They got the ball, and where I was positioned is where I'm familiar with getting the ball, shift and shoot. So I knew what I was going to do as soon as I got the ball, and execution was right and went in the net. So happy with that finish, but also frustrated as well. Felt like we should have got 3 points. Defended with our lives on it, but. Yeah, I mean, just take the point and move on to the next game so we can. We got in, the manager wasn't happy, just livened us up really, and we weren't playing like how we usually play in the first half. Just needed the intensity, go and getting the press right, and we did that from the get-go of the second half. So yeah, I think that's what got us the point today.
Well, another Ghanaian player on target for his club is Mohamed Salisu. Well, he proved his worth once again, scoring a crucial goal for AS Monaco in their intense Coupe de France clash with Stade de Reims. The match ended 1-1 in regular time, but then AS Monaco lost on penalties. On to results from the English Premier League games that were played last night. Manchester City's hopes of winning a fifth successive Premier League title suffered another blow after they threw away a 2-goal lead to draw 2-2 at Brentford. The Bees trailed by 2 goals after 78 minutes, only for Johan Wissa to pull one back before captain Christian Nordgaard's 92nd minute header equalizer. Phil Foden had scored both goals for Manchester City. Meanwhile, Liverpool were held by a stubborn Nottingham Forest, while Graham Potter secured his first win as West Ham United manager with victory over Fulham. The Hammers won that game by 3-2 with Mohamed Kudus featuring for the London club. Now, Chelsea needed a last-minute Reece James strike to draw with Bournemouth 2-2 at Stamford Bridge. Now, their manager Enzo Maresca has reacted to the performance of his team.
Yeah, very happy for him. He deserved after a difficult moment, and also because give us the point. So happy for him and happy for us. As you said, probably one of our best first half of the season. The way we're playing on the ball, off the ball, create so many chances. I think we had around 50 shots. The first half has to finish with different score, because I think at least 2-0 was the one that we deserve. And then second half, after the penalty, the game completely changed. We dropped a little bit. Probably we need to understand the reason why. But yeah, it's the feeling is like a little bit shame.
Well, that was Chelsea's Italian manager Enzo Maresca reacting after the 2-2 draw with AFC Bournemouth. Now the games continue tonight with Everton hosting Aston Villa. Crystal Palace will be traveling to the King Power Stadium to face Leicester City. Newcastle United will welcome Wolverhampton Wanderers, with Arsenal facing Tottenham in the North London derby. Now Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has spoken out against the online abuse suffered by forward Kai Havertz after that defeat to Manchester United.
Honestly, and we really have to do something about it, because accepting that and hiding this, I think has terrible consequences, and it's something that we really have to eradicate from the game, because it's so cynical as well, and it's so dependent to a result of an action, and there is not any other story like this. When we play Ipswich, it was 27 of December at home, we win 1-0. Kai Havertz scores a goal, and the whole stadium after that is singing the Waka Waka. That's 20 days ago.
Well, that was Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta unhappy with the way Arsenal fans are treating Kai Havertz. Now to some transfer news. Aston Villa have announced the signing of forward Daniel Malen from Borussia Dortmund. The 25-year-old Netherlands international moves to the Premier League for a fee of 23 million euros plus 3 million euros in add-ons. Now Jurgen Klopp says he has made it a clear commitment that he will not become manager of one of the Red Bull clubs after starting his role as the organization's head of global soccer. The former Liverpool manager was named in the role last year before officially starting at the beginning of 2025.
I will not be the coach of a Red Bull team. That's a clear commitment. In how I sit here, and I, as much as you can assume, I would give a guarantee I will not be the coach, not a coach at all. But I'm probably the only person in this room who will get asked, where are you in 5 years, where in 4 years, where in 3 years? Nobody here in this room has a clue, and I don't have a clue, but the plan is completely different, and I will not be the replacement of one of the Red Bull coaches. I hope we can create a structure where these kind of questions will not come up at all. That would be cool.
Well, that was former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp speaking there. Now, away to Italy, Juventus continued their unbeaten start to the Serie A campaign, but were held to a 13th draw in the opening 20 games by Atalanta. AC Milan defeated Como by 2-1 in the other game of the night. Tonight, Inter Milan will face Bologna in Serie A. To some tennis news, Ken Wen-Zhen admitted it was not her day as she was beaten in the Australian Open second round in the biggest shock of the tournament so far. China's Zhen, runner-up to Arina Sabalenka last year, and the Olympic singles gold medalist lost the
101.9 FM.
German veteran Laura Siegemund. Now, fellow two-time winner Naomi Osaka also won, coming from a set down to beat Carolina Muchova, while title contender Coco Gauff will be in action later today. So, results from the NBA games that were played last night. The Cleveland Cavaliers returned to winning ways after beating the Indiana Pacers by 127 to 117. The Philadelphia 76ers lost to the Oklahoma City Thunders, and the Atlanta Hawks defeated the Phoenix Suns 122 to 117. The Milwaukee Bucks thumped the Sacramento Kings by 130 to 115, and there were wins for the New Orleans Pelicans, the Denver Nuggets, and the Brooklyn Nets. That we are for sports this morning. Business Breakfast on Zed continues with Raphael.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
1, 2, 3!
Dive into a world of exhilarating fun, refreshing thrills, and endless splashes at the Marina Water Park inside Lakeside. With a wide array of water attractions, you are guaranteed an unforgettable experience for the whole family. Open Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Call 0508 598 948 or 0204 775 044. Follow us on all socials at Lakeside Marina Park. Marina Water Park. Love the experience.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business
First Sky
radio.
Group, a wholly owned Guinean company made up of First Sky Construction, First Sky Bitumen Processing, First Sky Commodities, Volta Serene Hotel, Western Serene Atlantic Hotel, Serene Insurance, First Sky Energies, and Federal Rural Bank warmly invites you to its 22nd Thanksgiving service on the theme Proclaiming God's Unfailing Love, Romans 8:37. The Thanksgiving service in two parts will be hosted by the founder and executive chairman, Mr. Eric Sedi Kutoche. There will be an all-night service on Friday, 17th January 2025 from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. at the Trinity Temple Assemblies of God Church, TTAG Community 10, Hema. Ministering in Word, Reverend Mark Sessi, National Missions Director, Assemblies of God, Sierra Leone. Reverend Sujit Alex, FAM's North Area Leader, Assemblies of God, UK. Thanksgiving service follows on Sunday, 19th January 2025 at the main auditorium of the Accra International Conference Center. The time is 10 a.m. Guest speaker, Reverend Stephen Yensum Wingam, General Superintendent, Assemblies of God, Ghana. Chairman for the occasion, Most Reverend Professor Johnson Kwabena Asamoah Jedu, the presiding bishop, the Methodist Church Ghana. Ministering in music will be MOG Music. Also in attendance will be His Eminence Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, Reverend Professor Paul Frimpong Manso, immediate past General Superintendent, Assemblies of God, Ghana. Apostle General Sam Kwanchi Ankara, Royal House Chapel International, Reverend Steve Mensa, Charismatic Evangelistic Ministry, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Boafo, Apostle Professor Kojo Opoku Onina, Reverend Dr. Lawrence Tete, Reverend Dr. Sylvanus Amegashiti, Elom Group Corporate Chaplain, First Sky Group, and many other senior clergy. For more details, please call 020-854-3441 or 0248-940-021. First Sky Group 22nd Thanksgiving Service, proclaiming God's unfailing love.
101.9 FM.
Well, if you just tuned in, this Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. Just gone by, we had a business news by Samuela Enchi and Sports Flash by Lukman Evergreen Moomin. That's Zed 101.9 FM Business Breakfast on Zed with me, Raphael Trebi Hammond. Now, up next, we're going to have the business brief where I get to share something very profound to help your business go forward. So enjoy this part of music. We'll be right back.
I refrain when he pahu, and so damn in Payane said, Miramfi Papa, why am here? It's Yaneka Jania Sido. I refrain when he pahu, I dear Bakona Miss Rene said, Miramfi Papa, why am here? I said, me boom pom pom, Koshamechi, baby, I'm a friend, baby, I'm a D, or therefore, one now better me on your way. I said, Miss Susu, Sissy, stand back and take account, or therefore, wait there, it had to be you. That's right. I said, me boom, pom, pom, Koshamechi, baby, I'm a friend, baby, I'm a D, or therefore, one now better me on your way. I said, Miss Susu, Sissy, stand back and take account, or therefore, wait there, it had to be you. And take money. Salute, money, 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 I jump into chamo, money, hey, money, money, I don't throw away salute, money, 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 I jump into chamo.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
101.9 FM.
Nipa, yeah, me touching you, held me close. So closer than a brother. So closer than a brother. Truth is, I gave up on myself. Cause my back was against the wall. And it was on you now, yeah. But I gave you a call. And you answered my prayer. At once, you made a way. But I gave you a call. to free. Me boom Mashamachi, Ebia me friend, Ebia Medi, or therefore, one over to me away. Hey, that's a Miss Susu, stand back and take account, or therefore, wait, yeah, it has to be you. And take money, money, and a true salute, yeah, money, Chamo, money, oh, hey, money, oh, money, oh. I got you a salute, yeah, money, oh, money, oh, money, oh. I got me to chamo, money, oh, young hey, money, oh.
It's your lifestyle lurker and business radio.
I got you a salute, yeah. Money, oh, and again, money, oh, money, oh, money, oh, and jump into chamo, money, oh, and again, money, oh, money, oh, money, oh, and jump into chamo, money, oh, and again, money, oh, money, oh, money, oh, and jump into chamo, money, oh.
Well, time check is exactly 30 minutes after the hour 7. And this is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Raphael Trebi Hammond. Now, this is where I get to speak to you as a business owner or as an entrepreneur or anybody at all that is interested in anything business. And we call this one the Business Brief. Now, let me take you through it. Now let me take you back to a time not too long when Friday nights meant heading to a video store, right? Back then, there was a company called Blockbuster Video, and they were the king of the hill. At the time, they had over 9,000 stores worldwide, and they were a household name, and they were the go-to spot for movie rentals. If you wanted any movie in the world, Blockbuster Video was where you were supposed to go to. Because they had every single thing. They were like the top businesses that you know about. Blockbuster was a talk of town. Now you could stroll through aisles of DVDs and video home systems. Now video home systems, as those of you who don't know, is just PM on call. You know that cassette thing that we used to watch. Blockbuster was located in the US, and you could just stroll through their aisles and pick a tape. Pick a favorite movie that you want to watch, grab some popcorn at the counter, and head home for a movie night. But today, Blockbuster is gone. Well, almost, because there's still one store standing in Oregon, somewhere in the US. Blockbuster was a talk of town. But today, they are nowhere to be found. But the question is, what happened? What happened to this great business? What happened to the talk of town, the king of the hill? What happened to them? Why did a company that was so successful collapse so completely? What happened? Now, the answer is simple. Blockbuster Video didn't adapt to change. They failed to embrace technology. They were running the normal things that they were doing. People would walk into their studio, into their stores, and come and pick a movie and go and watch. Then along the line, something happened. And that is what actually caused Blockbuster to fail. And today they have just one store. They used to have 9,000 stores worldwide. Today they have just one store standing somewhere in America. Now, Blockbuster was unstoppable. Their business model was straightforward. No long talk. Rent movies, collect late fees, and then open more stores. That was what they were doing. So they rent some movies out and then collect. Late fees is simply something that you pay when you default to submit your movie, your cassette or your CD or the DVD before time or when you were supposed to. So let's say you pick a movie over the weekend on a Friday, you're supposed to return it by Sunday night. If you fail to do that, you pay late fees after that. And so they used to take late fees, and it brought in a lot of millions, hundreds of millions annually for them. And they were opening more stores, and they kept opening more stores. So they were raking in billions Blockbuster was a talk of town. Now, meanwhile, in 1997, a little company called Netflix was just getting started. Now, they had come up with a new idea. Now, they weren't doing the walk-in. They weren't asking people to come pick their movies in their stores. But they started renting the DVDs by mail. So you could sit in your home, place an order, and then they send you the cassettes to watch in your house. And there were no late fees as well. They weren't charging any late fees. So that's how they came into the market, Netflix. They weren't charging any late fees. Now you don't have to also drive into the store to come and pick a movie. So it was a bit different. And at the time, it wasn't a major threat to Blockbuster. But in 2000, Netflix approached Blockbuster with an offer to sell their company for just $50 million. Netflix was like, okay, we're not doing so well, so let's sell it off to Blockbuster. Now, what happened? The leadership at Blockbuster laughed at Netflix. They thought it was a joke. But Netflix wasn't joking. By mid-2000s, Netflix had introduced an online streaming, allowing customers to watch movies instantly from their homes. Netflix invested in this cutting edge technology that Blockbuster doubled down, and they were still sticking to their brick and mortar business. Now, Blockbuster believed that customers would never give up the experience of browsing through the shelves, walking into their stores to pick up a movie. But by the time Blockbuster realized that streaming was a future, it was too late. Netflix had already taken over the market. Customers wanted convenience, watching what they wanted. And they didn't have to now pay any late fees anymore. They didn't have to now drive all the way to your stores to pick a movie. They could just get it from their homes. And they were streaming in their homes. Now, what's the lesson? Here's what this this story teaches us. Success today doesn't guarantee success tomorrow. If you are not adapting to change as a business, you are falling behind. And in business, one thing is constant, and it is change. Blockbuster's story isn't just about movies, isn't just about complacency. It's just about complacency. Because they could have adapted to change, but they decided not to. They stuck to what they were doing. And it's about a failure to see where the world is headed. If you fail to see where the world is headed as a business, you will lag behind at all times. And that is what happened to Blockbuster. And I think it's a wake-up call for all business leaders. If you're a business leader and you think we've always done it this way, so why change? This is how we've always done it. Let's stick to it. I'm sorry. You gradually fall behind. So as we heard, in 2025, we are standing at the edge of incredible technological advancements. There's AI, there's augmented reality, blockchain, automation, and the Internet of Things. And they're already shaping industries. If you're a business and you want to survive, you want to thrive, then you need to be embracing these technologies. So ask yourself, are you preparing for these changes? Are you exploring how new technology can improve your processes, engage your customers, or give you a competitive edge? Or are you stuck in this is how we've always done it mindset? If you're like that, please change your mind, because if you don't take care, your business will be like Blockbuster. So Blockbuster didn't fail because people stopped watching movies. But they failed because they didn't adapt. But Netflix saw where the world was going and they acted. Don't let your business become like Blockbuster. And so today in our roundtable discussion, we're going to have 3 awesome gentlemen who are going to join us for us to explore the tech trends to expect in 2025. And we believe that this is going to take your business to the next level. So stay tuned. This is Business Brief on a Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Raphael Nichebi Hammond. Up next is Transport Today. We're going to talk a bit more about the traffic situation in town and the flights to expect. And then once we are done, we move on to market trends. Then after that, we're going to talk we're going to talk about technology in 2025. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Well, if you just tuned in, this is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Raphael Nichebi Hammond. It's time for Transport Today. And my colleague Solomon is in studio to talk to us.
This is the pre-boarding announcement for flight 3728.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Yeah, good morning.
So, good morning. How are you?
By the grace, I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm very good.
Thank God.
What's happening in the world of transport?
All right, so I'm taking you through the flight schedules.
Okay.
Today, and I'm starting with African World Airlines.
Okay.
Yeah. So Accra to Kumasi, African World Airlines. We have 6 flights available today.
Okay.
That will be going to Kumasi and will be coming back as well. So the first flight takes off 6:20 a.m. and arrives in Kumasi at 7 o'clock a.m. And then takes off at Kumasi at 7:30 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 8:10 a.m.
So that means that if there's a flight from Kumasi to Accra, by now it should be in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then the second flight takes off 8:40 a.m. and arrives in Kumasi at 9:20 a.m. And then takes off in Kumasi 9:50 a.m. and then arrives in Accra 10:30 a.m.
Right.
And then the third flight takes off 2:10 p.m. and arrives in Accra, Kumasi 2:50 p.m. And then takes off in Kumasi 3:20 p.m. and then arrives in Accra 4 o'clock p.m.
Okay.
And then the fourth flight takes off at Accra 4:30 p.m. and then arrives in Kumasi 5:10 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi 5:40 p.m. and arrives in Accra 6:20 p.m. Then the fifth flight takes off at Accra 6:50 p.m. arrives in Kumasi 7:30 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi, that is 8 o'clock p.m. and then arrives in Accra 8:40 p.m. And then the last flight takes off at Accra 7 o'clock p.m. and then arrives in Kumasi at 7:40 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi 8:10 p.m. and arrives in Accra 8:50 p.m. So that is Accra to Kumasi, African World Airlines.
Okay.
All right. So Accra to Takoradi, African World Airlines. We have 3 flights available.
Just before that, so it means that if you're listening to us this morning and you plan to fly from Accra to Kumasi using Africa World Airlines, there are 6 flights, and you may want to check on their website and book as soon as possible before you miss any of them. Okay, let's go to Accra to Takoradi.
So first flight takes off 6:40 a.m. and arrives in Takoradi at 7:20 a.m. And then and then takes off in Takoradi 7:50 a.m. arrives in Accra 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
And then second flight takes off 2:10 p.m. and then arrives in Takoradi 2:50 p.m. and then takes off in Takoradi 3:20 p.m. and arrives in Accra 4 o'clock p.m. And then the last flight for Accra to Takoradi, African World Airlines, takes off at 4:30 p.m. from Accra and then arrives in Takoradi 5:10 p.m.
So they don't have an evening flight?
No, so that's the last flight for Takoradi. Right. And then takes off in Takoradi 5:40 p.m. and arrives in Accra 6:20 p.m. So that is Accra to Takoradi, African World Airlines.
Okay.
And then Accra to Tamale, African World Airlines. We have 4 flights available for Accra to Tamale. And then the first flight takes off at 6:30 a.m. and arrives in Tamale at 7:30 a.m. and then takes off in Tamale 8 o'clock a.m. and then arrives in Accra 9 o'clock a.m. So it's 1 hour journey.
Okay.
Yeah. So second flight takes off at 9:30 a.m. and then arrives in Tamale 10:30 a.m. and then takes off in Tamale 11 o'clock a.m. and arrives in Accra 12 o'clock p.m. And then the third flight takes off 12:30 p.m. and arrives in Tamale 1:30 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale 2 o'clock p.m. and then arrives in Accra 3 o'clock p.m. And then the last flight for the day from Accra to Tamale takes off in Accra 3:30 p.m. and then arrives in Tamale at 4:30 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale 5 o'clock p.m. and then gets to Accra at 6 o'clock p.m. So that is all for African World Airlines.
Okay.
Yeah, from Accra to Kumasi, Accra to Takoradi, and then Accra to Tamale.
Okay.
So let's take Passion Air, Accra to Kumasi. They have 6 flights available today. And the first flight takes off at 6:20 a.m. and then arrives in Kumasi at 7 o'clock a.m. Then takes off in Kumasi at 7:30 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 8:10 a.m. The second flight takes off 8:50 a.m. and arrives in Kumasi at 9:30 a.m. and then takes off in Kumasi 10 o'clock a.m. and then arrives in Accra 10:40 a.m.
Okay.
And then the third flight takes off 11:20 a.m. and arrives in Kumasi at 12 o'clock p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 12:30 p.m. and arrives in Accra at 1:10 p.m. And then the fourth flight takes off 1:50 p.m. and then arrives in Kumasi at 2:30 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 3 o'clock p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 3:40 p.m. And then the fifth flight 4:30 p.m. takes off in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 5 o'clock p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 5:30 p.m. and arrives in Accra at 6:10 p.m. And then the last flight for Accra to Kumasi, Passion Air, takes off at 7:20 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 8:10 p.m.
Okay.
And then takes off in Kumasi at 8:30 p.m. and arrives in Accra at 9:20 p.m.
9:20.
So that is Passion Air Accra to Kumasi.
Accra to Kumasi. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you want to fly from Accra to Kumasi, then you may want to visit the website, Passion Air website, and book ahead of time because if you don't do, you probably might miss your flight. Okay.
So Passion Air Accra to Takoradi, they have 2 flights available today, and the first flight takes off at 6:20 a.m. and arrives in Takoradi at 7:10 a.m. and then takes off in Takoradi at 7:40 a.m. and arrives in Accra at 8:30 a.m. And then second flight, that's the last flight though, takes off at 4:20 p.m. and then arrives in Takoradi at 5:10 p.m. and then takes off in Takoradi 5:40 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 6:30 p.m.
They're just
so
2 flights.
Yeah, that is Passion Air Accra to Takoradi.
Takoradi, just 2.
And then we have Accra to Sunyani today.
Oh, okay.
So usually we don't, get it
yeah,
back
once in a
while.
Okay.
Yeah, we get Accra to Sunyani,
Right.
but it's just 1 flight.
Okay.
And it takes off at 9:10 a.m. and arrives in Sunyani at 10:10 a.m. And then return from Sunyani. It takes off from Sunyani at 10:40 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 11:40 a.m.
Okay.
So that is Accra to Sunyani.
Right.
And we have Accra to Wa. That one too is like the same as the Accra to Sunyani. Once in a while we have that flight available, and we have only 1 flight today. So 9:50 a.m. it takes off from Accra and then arrives in Wa at 11:30 a.m. and then takes off.
Can you repeat that?
So it takes off in Accra at 9:50 a.m.
Okay.
and then arrives in Wa at 11:30 a.m.
Okay.
And then takes off in Wa at 12 o'clock p.m. and arrives in Accra at 1:40 p.m.
Okay.
So that is Accra to Wa Passion Air.
Okay.
And then Accra to Tamale Passion Air. You have 3 flights available today. Accra to Tamale Passion Air. First flight takes off at 6 o'clock a.m. and arrives in Tamale at 7:20 a.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 7:50 a.m. and arrives in Accra at 9:10 a.m. And then second flight takes off 12:20 p.m. and arrives in Tamale at 1:40 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale 2:10 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 3:30 p.m. And then the last flight for Accra to Tamale, it takes off 4 o'clock p.m. from Accra and then arrives in Tamale at 5:20 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 5:50 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 7:10 p.m. So that is all for the flight schedules today. And let me quickly take you through the traffic in town. Yeah, so today we are looking at Kasua all the way to Malam, that stretch.
Okay.
So when you are coming from Kasua, when you get to West Hills Mall, there's a bit massive traffic there. So if you are driving through, you have to be aware and take note of that.
Okay.
So there's a massive traffic at West Hills Mall.
That place usually there's always, almost always traffic there. All right.
And so you need to take note of that.
But there are no alternative routes, right?
That place, there's no alternative.
Just one.
So you just have to be aware of it and know how.
Right.
Yeah, and then McCarthy Hill. When you get to McCarthy Hill, there's also traffic over there. Driving to Malam Junction, there's traffic over there, especially from Regent University College.
Okay.
Yeah, there's traffic there. And then Kwashiman, we are coming to La Paz, sorry. When you're coming to La Paz, Kwashiman, there's also traffic over there that we need to take note of that.
Okay.
And Nungwa, when you're coming from Teshi, from the Nungwa District Police Headquarters through to Nungwa Market, there's traffic over there all the way to Nungwa Junction Mall. Yeah, so the alternative is that you can use the route that passes through the Nats Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use if you are going to Nungwa from Teshi.
Right.
So you can use the route through Nats Hall and then the Adogono railway stop. Then you can use and get to the Nungwa Junction Mall.
Okay.
So that is the alternative for you. And then the last thing we need to look at is 37 Ministry Hospital. There's traffic over there. When you're driving from Jubilee House, when you get to 37, there's traffic all the way to Lancaster Hotel. Yeah, all the way to Lancaster Hotel. So you have to also take note of that. So that is traffic in town. That's a traffic check.
But how about Medina towards Legon through to?
Okay, so for now, I don't think there's massive traffic at the moment at that place.
That stretch.
Yeah. And also, SpaceX rocket debris caused flight delay in South Africa. Yeah. So Qantas is one of the oldest airlines in the world. So they has announced that last minute delays for several flights to South Africa, attributed to warnings of falling debris from SpaceX rocket re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. So because of that, there's been delays for their flight.
Right.
So Ben Holland, which he is the head of Qantas Operations Center, stated that the unpredictability of the re-entry zones over the Southern Indian Ocean has caused a remoteness or has significantly impacted flight schedules on the Sydney-Johannesburg route.
Right.
So that is why they are facing that delays in their flight. So that is all for transport today. Yeah.
All right, Solomon, thank you very much for bringing us all the updates in line with transport and traffic this morning. So you heard Solomon. He's giving us all the details. If you're coming from Teshi Nungwa, there's some traffic on your route. If you're coming from Kasua through West Hills Mall, then you need to take care. Just get to know that there's some traffic on your way to Accra. And then around La Paz, there's some traffic. If you're going from around 37 from Jubilee House, then there's some traffic. Maybe you may want to call your boss. If you have a boss that you're submitting to, then you need to call and inform them that you'll be a little late this morning. Yeah. But anyway, our show continues. There's Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Raphael Nitrebi Hammond. You can join the conversation. We're going to have a very important conversation when we come back after this short musical break. But you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X at ZFMGH, and then on TikTok and YouTube. You can follow us. You can look us up at Zed Multimedia on TikTok and YouTube. And then you can also visit our website at www.zmultimedia.com. And also our WhatsApp lines are activated. You could reach us on 0544 321019 0544 321019. Up next is Market Trends, and Emmanuel Boating will be joining me for that conversation. You may want to stay tuned and enjoy this musical break. We'll be right back.
Yes, Zed 101.9 FM.
Let's do this. Now, waiting they happen. Why you they worry? Life for now, so just try to take them softly. Come on. Even if you lose, with some money. Okay. No matter the problem, never let them weigh you down. Hey, if you believe, you go defeat. Stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. If you believe, only Jah fit do the rest. You fit be the next. Believe in me, I say. If your girlfriend or maybe your wifey, she dey play you while you, she dey sleep around with you. Cool your temper, I say make you know they think up. Okay. No matter the way that, hey my brother, try forget them. Yeah. If you believe, you go defeat. Stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. Believe and do the best. Only Jah fit do the rest. You fit be the next. Believe in me, I say. Kulu kulu mama, kulu kulu papa, kulu kulu brother, kulu kulu sister, kulu kulu auntie, kulu kulu uncle, kulu kulu kulu, kulu kulu temper. Beans in a rice, my and okay. Biscuit na minara, even if na sugar. Come on, food is sweet, but not the sweet pass. Hey, let's see that the Lord is so good. Hey, if you believe, you go defeat. Stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. Believe and do the best. Only Jah fit do the rest. Fit be the next, believe in me, I say. As you make your bed, I saw you lie on top. Yeah, love your neighbor, I still love your baby. Yes, vanity is vanity, everything is vanity. Now matter of time, all of them go vamos one day.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
You go defeat, stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. Believe and do the best. Only Jah fit do the rest. You fit be the next. Believe in me, I say. Kulu kulu mama, kulu kulu papa, kulu kulu brother, kulu kulu sister, kulu kulu auntie, kulu kulu uncle, kulu kulu kulu, kulu kulu temper.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Biscuit na minara, even if na sugar. Come on, love your neighbor, I still love your baby. Food is sweet, but God is sweet pass. Let's see that the Lord is so good. Hey, if you believe, you go defeat. Stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. Believe and do the best. Only Jah fit do the rest. You fit be the next. Believe in me, I say. Yes,
Zed 101.9 FM.
Let's do this. Now waiting they happen. Why you they worry? Life for now, so just try to take them softly. Come on. Even if you lose, with some money. nest. Believe in me, I say. If your girlfriend, or maybe your wifey, with your friends, cool your temper. I say, make you know they think up. Okay. No matter the way that, hey, my brother, try forget that. Hey, if you believe, you go defeat. Stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. Believe and do the best. Only Javid do the rest. You fit be the nest. Believe in me, I say. Kulu kulu mama, kulu kulu papa, kulu kulu brother, kulu kulu sister, kulu kulu auntie, kulu kulu uncle, kulu kulu kulu, kulu kulu temper. Beans in a rice, moi and pore, biscuit in a minara, even if on a sugar. Come on, food is sweet. But God is sweet pass. Hey, STNC, like the Lord is so good. Hey, if you believe, you go defeat. Stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. Believe and do the best. Only Javid do the rest. You fit be the nest. Believe in me, I say. As you make your bed up, I saw you lie on top. Yeah, love your neighbor. I still love your baby. Yes, vanity is vanity. Everything is vanity. Now, matter of time, all of them go vamos one day. Come on. If you believe, you go defeat. Stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. Believe and do the best. Only Javid do the rest. You fit be the nest. Believe in me, I say. Kulu kulu mama, kulu kulu papa, kulu kulu brother, kulu kulu sister, kulu kulu auntie, kulu kulu uncle, kulu kulu kulu, kulu kulu temper.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Well, you're still tuned into Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Raphael Nee Trebi Hammond. We're going to have a conversation very soon on market trends. What is happening in the global market? What is happening in the local market, as well as labor market and all of that. We're going to touch on that briefly. But you can follow us on our social media platforms. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and X at ZFMGH. And then we are also on TikTok and YouTube at Z Multimedia. You can visit www.zmultimedia.com to read some more news and check all the updates in the world of news. And you can join our conversation on 0544321019, 0544321019.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Well, it's still Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. Now, Ghana's biggest water park is now here, and it's called the Marina Water Park. It's a new water and adventurous water park for fun and leisure. Now, it boasts of all the amazing water sports anyone can dream of, from adults to children. Now, this new aquatic experience promises nothing but premium fun with the diverse attractions. It's located at the Lakeside Marina Park, opens every weekend, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays and 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays and 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. And they are also opened on all public holidays. Now, bookings are available for schools, churches, and corporate institutions who wish to have a team bonding moment and a great time. You can call them on 020-477-5044, 020-477-5044, or 0508-598-948, 0508-598-948 for more information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at Lakeside Marina Park, or visit www.lakesidemarinapark.com. Now, also the First Sky Group Group's 22nd anniversary celebration will now be held on January 17, 2025, and January 19th, 2025, respectively. Now, on Friday, the January 17th, there will be an all-night from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. at the Trinity Temple Assemblies of God Church inside Community 10 Tema, which is called the TTAG. And also ministry in word, our Reverend Mark Sessi, National Missions Director, Assemblies of God Sierra Leone, and Reverend Sujit Alex, Thames North Area Leader, Assemblies of God UK. Now, on Sunday, the January 19th, 2025, there will be a special anniversary and Thanksgiving service at the main auditorium of the Accra International Conference Center at 10 a.m. Now, the guest speaker for that is Reverend Stephen Yenusum Wingam, General Superintendent, Assemblies of God Ghana, and Most Reverend Professor Johnson Akwabena Asamoah-Jedu, the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church of Ghana, will be the chairman for the occasion. Ministry in songs will be our very own MOG Music and others. Now, for more details, you can reach them on 020-854-3441, 020-854-3441, and also 0248-940-021. 0248-940-021. There's a program you wouldn't want to miss. It First Sky Group's 22nd anniversary celebration. Now, I hope you enjoy this one. It's Kwame Eugene and Obapa Christie. They call this one Waye.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
And I hope this one encourages you this morning. No matter what you're going through, just believe that God has done it. Kwame Eugene and Obapa Christie, they call this one Waye AVA. It means that God has already done it.
Your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
The best is the flow for my life. tire to the bless me, oh. I'm here no kutranga to the thank I'm that I love what you give, that I'm using to love you, oh. It's a joy that I have, that I'm using to praise your name for your goodness and your mercy, divine favor and your love, and my salvation, forgiveness, faithfulness, and your presence. Jehovah no be tired for my matter. I'm being no good tired to the praise I'm made. Not in life where you give, I will use it to praise you. Oh, that joy that I have, I will use it to praise your name for your goodness and your mercy, your guidance and your love, oh, my salvation, forgiveness, redemption, and your presence. Not gonna finish for my life. Surely goodness and mercy they follow me.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Well, you're still listening to Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Raphael Nitrebi Hammond. This morning, we're going to have a conversation on market trends. What's happening in the world of stock and what's also happening in the Forex market. And I have with me Ajo. Ajo is seated in studio with me. Ajo, good morning.
Good morning.
How are
Mr.
you
Hammond.
doing?
I'm good.
How are you doing?
Everything is okay.
Can you try and pull your microphone a bit?
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully Emmanuel will also join us for this conversation. So what is happening in the stock market?
So, just a brief update, but good morning to our dear listeners. So, we'll just share just a brief update on our stock markets and then also look at some updates on our forex. So, for our Ghana Stock Exchange market, we've seen our year-to-date increase by 2.27%. And when we say that the year-to-date has increased, what we are saying here is that we've seen a change in the value of the performance of our stock.
Okay.
So as the report was shared as at yesterday, which was the 14th. So the reports indicate that the stock market's performance has increased, or the overall stock market from the beginning of the current calendar till the end of the present year, which is the last year, which was 2024. And currently in 2025, the year-to-date indicates an increase in our stock market. So that is what we are looking at for stock. However, let's also look at some of the brands who are on our stock market. So the top gainers we are looking at right now is MTN Ghana.
Okay.
And then Ghana Commercial Bank. So MTN Ghana has also increased by 1.96%. And Ghana Commercial Bank has also increased by 0.63%. Now, our top movers, let me look at the top 5 movers, which is number 1 is MTN Ghana. And the second mover on our stocks is EcoBank. And then the third is Cow Bank, followed by Ghana Commercial Bank. And we also see SIC. SIC is also one of the top movers right now. So this is just to give a cue to investors or anyone who wants to buy a share. These are some of the top movers on Ghana Stock Exchange at the moment.
Okay. Let me bring in Ima into the conversation. Ima, good morning.
Good morning, Raphael.
Ima, how are you doing?
I'm fairly okay.
Okay. So we're talking a bit about the stock market, and we are saying MTN top again. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's important to note that MTN has reached an all-time high. What that means is that the stock price they are seeing for MTN now is the highest they have ever recorded since they were listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Wow.
And that is an important thing. They gained 0.04. And that is, I think it should be around 2.55 or so. They have reached an all-time high, and that has been very, very impressive. And so we are hopeful that MTN will continue to do well. They don't have the highest stock price on the Ghana Stock Exchange. However, when you hit the highest price since you were ever listed on the exchange, what we say is that you have reached an all-time high. And that is the situation of MTN today.
Right. And what does that mean? What does that mean for businesses, for investors?
All right. What that means is that your stock price is a manifestation of your overall financial performance, underpinned by the performance of the entire economy of the country in which you are listed. And so MTN can be said to be doing well. So you want to look at it this way. Their performance largely drives their stock price, because as we know, you would not buy something at a high price if that thing is not good. And the way stock price works, it works on the basis of valuation. In other words, MTN's value has increased, and that is why their stock price has reached an all-time high. And so when you invest in MTN, you are not investing in something that does not have value. Right. You're investing in something whose value has even increased, and that is really what it means.
Now, also, according to the report, the stock has increased to from 2 up to 2.2%. What does that mean?
That is the stock of MTN or the overall stock exchange?
The overall.
Yes, that means that the performance of the stock exchange has increased. You know, the stock exchange comprises a number of companies that have been listed. When you put all these companies together, their combined performance has seen an increase by 2.2%, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And that is what it really means. So you notice that earlier, I just mentioned that there are movers. What that means is that amongst all the companies listed on the exchange, a certain number of them moved. In other words, they were the highest contributors to the 2.2% that you are mentioning. And then there were others. These are companies who lost. In other words, their stock prices fell. They didn't do well. But when you put the combined effort of all the companies listed on the exchange together, it translates into a gain. In other words, the stock exchange had a positive performance, and that is what it means.
That's what it means. Okay, we're going to have a conversation briefly about now stock prices, why they move, really. We're going to have a conversation about that. What are the factors? What are the factors that increase stock moves?
All right, so the factors that, brings about, if you like, those who move the exchange, is an issue of their performances. So let's look at it this way. If maybe let's assume, I hope Ajo will forgive us, if Zed Multimedia is listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange and our stock price is say 50 pesos per share, right? And today our stock price has increased to say 5 cedis per share. That you don't get that anywhere. That is a great move. So it could happen that say there are 3 other stock exchanges, say 3 other companies listed on the exchange. Say company, so we are Z, so we are company Z. Say there's company X and company Y. And their performance fell. Say one fell from 1 CD per share to 50 pesos per share. The other fell from 1 CD per share to 90 pesos per share. Because we have increased from 50 pesos to 5 cedis, and they have fallen from 1 CD to 50 pesos and 1 CD to 90 pesos respectively, that is X and Y. What that will mean is that although we have seen 2 falls, but because of the way we moved, is that okay?
Yeah.
Our move is too great such that it's able to cover their fall and it's able to give the overall exchange a performance, a positive performance.
Right.
So that is what really will tell us we have moved the exchange. It is because our performance is what is driving the performance of the exchange. It is like you are in a class of 50 students, or let's reduce the number of people in the class, a class of 10 students. There are 2 students in that class who scored about 99%. It is a school where you have A, B, and C. Maybe you have Flamboyant, Bougainvillea, and Marigold. It is still class 2. I don't know if you understand the system of creating. Now, in Marigold, there were 2 students who scored 98%. And the rest of the students in the class scored about 70. When you cite the average, it brings the average of the class to around 78 to 80. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Now, you go to another class. All the students in the class scored around 70. The average of the class is still around 70. Then you go to, say, Bougainvillea, and you have 2 of them scoring about 80, and the remaining scoring about 70. Their average will also be around 70. You will notice that in these 3 classes, the average of the class is around 70. However, Marigold, that class, the performance was moved by the 2 students who scored about 98. And that is why they would have a higher average. Is that
okay? Yeah.
And so the movers on the exchange are those stocks whose performance is driving the overall exchange's performance. I hope with the examples I've given, I've been able to.
Yes, I get it. I get it. Now, I shared a particular document with you over your WhatsApp. Maybe you may want to look at that. But I know there are factors, beyond the performance. Really, there are factors that influence how, for lack of better expression, how these companies, do on the largely, basically the stock price, how the stock prices move. So you may want to go through some of those ones. I know market wide influences like economic indicators has an influence.
That is the first point. The first thing that influences the performance of a stock on an exchange. It's the performance of the country that company finds itself.
Okay.
Raphael, this is the baseline principle. A company exists in a country where the country is going through a recession. No matter the resilience of that company, it wouldn't take long for it to catch up with that company. And so the economic performance of a country in which a company is listed or affects the performance of that stock.
Right.
And so economic indicators, whether or not a country's performance in terms of its GDP is experiencing growth, is experiencing a recession, whatever it is, if maybe we are having high inflation, high cost of borrowing, if the economic indicators are not favorable, with time it will catch up with the companies listed on the exchange.
Right.
And like I told you, the whole stock price is an issue of valuation, the value of the stock. And that has everything to do with the overall performance of that very company. Is that okay? And so economic indicators is one of the key reasons why a stock listed on the Ghana Exchange may perform well or may not perform well. Are we good?
Yeah.
Then the second one is market sentiment. Now, market sentiment, maybe let me not get too technical because it's quiet, but let me try and use something. I'm sure you know Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Elon Musk owns Tesla, right? Tesla is a company that is listed. When Elon Musk says something, it moves the stock price of Tesla. It signals the market on what is going to happen to Tesla.
Right.
And whether or not what he has said is favorable, drives investors to invest or not to invest, or even to sell their investment in Tesla. Or, to divest. Is that okay? Hello?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yes. And so what we will call, whether or not a particular company or the market is experiencing a bullish condition. You know a bull, right?
Yeah.
Its horns goes up.
Right.
And so when we say bullish, we mean that stock prices are rising.
Oh, okay.
That drives the performance of the market. Or bearish. That is the exact opposite. That comes down. And so when stock prices are coming down, we call that situation in the market a bearish condition.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have the normal times. So whenever there is a bearish situation, because stock prices are falling, Raphael, you earn on the exchange. So let's go back to Zed. It started with 50% per share, and you and I bought some stocks, right?
Yeah.
If the price moves to 5, haven't we gained 50%
yeah, we
per
have.
each share we hold? Now, when the price starts falling, it comes to around 20%.
Right.
We have to sell it because the market is becoming bearish. So whenever prices are falling, investors will sell their investments. And that leads to decline.
Wow.
Yes, that leads to decline. But when it is bullish, prices keep on surging. Investors would invest, they buy, and that keep pushing prices up.
Okay.
And maybe that is what is even happening to MTN. A lot more people may be buying shares from MTN, and that in itself will be pushing prices up.
Right.
I hope I've been able to. Yeah, and of course, geopolitical events. I told you yesterday, you remember I gave you a theory that says that the entire world is integrated together.
Yeah.
It's a local village. And so what happens in a certain part of the world spills over to other parts of the world. And you remember I used the example of COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war, and you asked questions around whether or not what the government was saying was really the truth.
Yeah.
And so geopolitical events also have a way of affecting the performance of the stock exchange, especially wars, political instability, international trade issues, and all of that. They affect stock prices globally. So, and of which Ghana is a part. When there is a war today, some of our companies listed on the exchange are not even Ghanaian-owned companies, right?
Yeah.
And so where the owners and all of those things are involved, it affects our performance. Let's look at it this way. If in some countries, maybe not Ghana, because recently I saw something, but it didn't really affect Standard Chartered Bank that much. But in some countries, where, say, the director or the CEO resigns in a company, it affects the stock price. Yeah, it gives a certain indication. It signals the market. That is really what it is about. It gives the market a signal that, hey, why is the CEO resigning? I don't know if you know Sam Altman.
No.
I think he's the CEO of OpenAI also.
Oh, okay.
I think sometime last year, there were some issues around it. All those things drive the prices of the stock exchange. So, my boss, and maybe lastly, because I'm talking about the geopolitical event, I may want to add a global market. Movements in international markets will have an effect on the. A lot of studies have shown that the performance of the global market affects or spills over into the performance of our market. You know, there are investors who diversify their investment. So they have an investment in, say, S&P 500. They have an investment in the Casablanca Stock Exchange. They have an investment in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and what have you. And then they have an investment in the Ghana Stock Exchange. How do they allocate resources across these investment handles? Maybe they give a lot of it to S&P. But in situations where there are lots of issues, is that okay? That is affecting the performance of S&P 500. You see what the investors will do. They will now bring a lot of money into Africa to invest in Casablanca, Ghana Stock Exchange, and Johannesburg. Is that okay? And that is what we mean by saying that the markets are interlinked. And so because the performance of the the developed countries' stock market is bad, they have diversified such that they have some investments in Africa so that it will make up for the losses they're experiencing on the global, on the developed countries, maybe in the US. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And that is really how it works. And that is one of the reasons why an investor somewhere in the UK, based on the studies we have seen, will invest on an exchange like Ghana. And South Africa and both.
Right. And you mentioned a CEO leaving the company as one of them, and I believe that is one of the company specific factors that affect the stock in the. What other ones? I know corporate news, whether it's a positive or negative news, also have an effect.
Yes, sir. That you are spot on. So CEO leaving a company definitely affect the stock market, right?
Yeah.
And corporate news, you are right on that. We are closing a branch. Corporate news. For instance, if you hear today, if you have an investment in Zed, and say Zed has other subsidiaries all over Ghana, and you hear that the CEO has said that, they are closing down all their subsidiaries because they do not have enough money to keep funding them. But that tells you that the company's resources or revenue streams are falling. And automatically, you may want to consider your investment in that company. So negative news drives performance downwards. Positive news drives performance upwards. It's the same thing. Where when you hear of a scandal and all of that will drive performance. Not only that, there is an important thing I must add, which is the payment of dividends.
Okay.
You know, dividends are signals. May God help me so that I'm not very technical. Dividends are signals to the market. Because I took a whole topic in that.
Right.
And that is why companies listed on the stock market, today they will not be paying dividend of 1 cedi. Then tomorrow it comes to 50%. You know why? You are paying dividends. Once the dividends you are paying for, you are signaling the market that your performance is not good. And that is why dividends are not even paid necessarily out of the profits that a company earns in that year.
Okay.
They have a policy for dividends.
Right.
And so there is a principle, we call it the dividend smoothing. So if you pay 1 cedi, until that company has the capacity to increase the dividend, they'll continue, and for a sustainable period, let me add, they'll continue to pay 1 cedi for a long time, although they may be making profit. And two, I mentioned to you that they don't pay dividend necessarily out of profit. A company may be making losses, but still be paying dividends because it is the policy of the company to pay dividends. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so the payment of dividends signals the market that this is a company, well, one, it's a dividend-paying company, but two, this is a company that is doing well. And so in itself, its stock prices will be going up because it's paying dividends, because of the scenarios I've given you. And that is how investors know which company is doing well, which company is not doing well, and all that. Is
Right.
that okay?
Right. Yeah, that is okay. Iman, unfortunately, we may have to wrap up our conversation here. Maybe you may want to, before we go, what should people be very cautious of if they want to invest in a company?
There are technical analysis, the external factors. Maybe if you want to invest in a company, do your technical analysis very well. Do your due diligence. The performance of the company, the economy within which that company exists. Here, the economy of Ghana. Understand the performance of the Ghanaian economy. Understand the industry within which that particular company exists, the drivers. Understand the position of that company in the industry. Is it the market leader? What really is the company like? Understand the future performance. In other words, projections about the future performance of the company, you should know. And understand the company's own policy. You know, companies list on the exchange for several reasons. To understand its policy. And I think that once your technical analysis would include profitability, valuation, and all of those things. Then the economy-wide consideration is the issue of the Ghanaian economy and how it is doing and how that impacts your business. You know, if Ghana's economy is not doing well, it doesn't impact every sector the same way. Some sectors are more affected than others. Recently, is the banking sector, the financial services that have been hugely affected. So you cannot say because the, DDEP, that's really what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If DDEP is affecting banks, it doesn't mean it's affecting telcos the same way. It doesn't mean it's affecting the mining industry the same way.
Okay.
I hope you know what I'm saying. So you may want to consider all of these factors. Then the company itself is the main thing you should look out for. What the company really is also going through is an important factor you need to look at.
Okay. Iman, thank you very much for joining us for Market Trends today. We've had a very good conversation around the stocks and all of that. Hopefully we get to go into deeper things tomorrow. But thank you for joining us. We hope to see you tomorrow.
Sure.
All right. Well, I just spoke to Emmanuel. Emmanuel is our economic contributor here at Zed, and this is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. Now, very soon we're going to have a very important conversation on tech. And during Business Brief, I shared a story with you. Maybe if you just tuned in, I'll tell you the story one more time before we get into the conversation. But I have three awesome gentlemen who are well versed in the subject of tech, AI, blockchain, and all of that. And they're going to share their knowledge with us. You don't want to miss this. So stay tuned. Enjoy this spot of music. We'll be right back.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Well, you're still tuned into Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Raphael Nitrebi Hammond. And this is the point where we get to have a conversation that you would enjoy so much. Now, I told you a story during Business Brief today. And if you just tuned in, I'm just going to help you because I think you need to hear that story. And it will connect to the conversation we're about to have this morning. So, at a time, many years ago, there was a company called Blockbuster Video. Now, Blockbuster Video was into DVD and VHS's video home systems, which we used to call Piamon Core cassette. Yeah, they used to be in that business of renting them to people who want to watch movies. So you go to their shops, any of their shops, you walk into their shops, you walk down through their aisles, and then you pick a movie you want to watch over the weekend. And then you go and watch it. And they were making a lot of money because they were also charging late fees. So late fees were fees that you pay if you default in returning the CD at the appropriate time. And I think Ghanaians can relate. At a time in Ghana, we're also renting cassettes, CDs and all of that to watch certain movies. Now, the problem with Blockbuster Video was that they failed to adapt to the changing times. They failed to adapt to technology. And then somewhere in 1997, a company comes up called Netflix. Now, Netflix didn't do exactly what Blockbuster was doing. They innovated. They started doing the same business in rentals, but they were renting to people over mail. So you don't have to now walk in. And then they weren't charging any late fees. So people bought into that idea. And then at a point, Netflix wanted to even sell their company to Blockbuster Video because they were the leaders in the market. But Blockbuster didn't buy it. But Netflix meant business. Over the period of time, Netflix started doing the streaming services. Meanwhile, Blockbuster was still stuck to their old system, their old way of doing business, selling, getting people to come into their shops to come and rent the CDs and all of that. But Netflix today is a market leader in that space. And Blockbuster used to have over 9,000 shops all over the world. Today, as I speak to you, they have just one shop in Oregon. Just one. What was their problem? They failed to adapt to the changing times. And that is why today's conversation is very important. We're talking about technology. Now, the technology landscape in 2025 is set to be more dynamic and, more than ever, with very cutting-edge innovations reshaping our industries and economies and daily lives. Now, from the rise of artificial intelligence in decision-making to the expansion of blockchain in supply chain management and the promise of quantum computing, the trends of this year, 2025, hold the potential to disrupt and redefine the way we live and work. Now, so today on Business Breakfast on Zed, in a roundtable discussion, we are being joined by three awesome gentlemen who will be leading the conversations because they are leading experts in the space when it comes to tech. All right. And so our conversation this morning, our discussion will highlight trends like the sustainability-driven technology, the evolution of Web3, the mainstreaming of 5G and beyond, and also the future of work in the tech-enabled world. So you don't want to miss this conversation, whether you're an entrepreneur, business executive, a tech enthusiast, or someone who is eager to understand technology and how it is shaping the future. I believe that this conversation will help you so much. And so the gentlemen are in studio with me as we speak, and one of them is Professor George Achampong. Prof, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're very calm.
Yeah.
All right, great. I'm going to read your bio very soon so that our listeners will get to know who you are. I also have in studio with me he calls himself Chairman James Aku. Chairman, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Wow, great. Good to have you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Wow. Please come closer to your microphone. Yes, I think that will help us. All right. And we'll also be joined by a tech influencer, Delpy. He's on his way here. I'm sure he'll join us in the course of the conversation. Yeah, but let me read your bios so that our listeners or those that are giving their time to us will know who you guys are. So Professor George Achampong is a seasoned academic and entrepreneurial leader with a dynamic blend of teaching, research, and practical business expertise. Currently serving as an associate professor at the University of Ghana and the University of Witwatersrand. George specializes in fostering innovative entrepreneurial mindset among students, early stage entrepreneurs, and professionals. He's a perfect guy for you this morning. George has led transformative initiatives that integrates venture incubation, mentoring services, and industry engagement to empower the next generation of African entrepreneurs. With a focus on practical and sustainable solutions, George designs courses and programs that blend academic rigor with real-world application, emphasizing case studies, practical projects, and industry collaborations. George's entrepreneurial interests spans digital entrepreneurship, agribusiness, creative micro ventures, eco-friendly innovations, and freelance research consultancy, reflecting a commitment to unlocking Africa's potential with minimal capital ventures. George, one more time, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Let me also read James, Chairman James Aku's profile or bio for you so that you can have an idea of who he is. James Akpo began his career in the office of the President, Republic of Ghana, as an internal auditor where he owned his analytical and strategic skills. Upon relocating to the US, he rapidly ascended the corporate ladder, gaining invaluable experience in roles ranging from financial analyst to financial controller in diverse industries, including aerospace and global engineering. Now, he's pioneered technological implementations that streamlined workflows and enhanced profitability. He has also successfully led cross-departmental collaboration, driving efficiency and process improvements. He's also established iSense Hub, a leader in AI solutions, further solidifying the reputation as an expert in process and technological integration. James, one more time. You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Please come closer a bit for me. Can you speak one more time? You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Gentlemen, we're going to get into our conversation right away. Now, this morning, we're talking about the trends to watch in 2025. What are the things that are happening in the world of technological advancement? Let me just take your initial thoughts, maybe roughly something you just want to say about it before we get into the questions, really. So I'll start with Professor George Achampong.
Okay.
Let me go to James.
James will start
all right,
from
James.
a practical
James.
standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay, James.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this presentation or conversation. And I actually love
All right. Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of this discussion. And this is the main reason why I am actually in Ghana. So I'm favored to be part of this. And I love your initial introduction, making an analogy between the old cassette system, where you bring in the technology, how it displaced the old way of doing things. And that is the future. That is the future. If you're a business and you're not open to adapting to change, I think this conversation is something that you really have to listen to.
Right. Professor George, Achampon, yes.
You can call me George. I mean,
okay.
It helps the conversation.
Okay, anyway. All right. So your initial thoughts. Yeah.
I think that fundamentally, change is the only constant.
Right.
And if you do not adapt, you're going to fall behind the times. And it's not just in business, it's probably in everything in life, right? So it's essential that we understand it from that perspective. And even if I were to take you as far back as 1700, when the Dangerous and Ashantis fought, it was a matter of who had the best weapons.
Right.
So if you were fighting with your cutlasses and someone had a cannon, then you were going to lose.
Right.
So I think that change with the times is fundamentally what is the game changer in all of this. Yeah.
Right. Now, so recently the World Economic Forum released their Future of Jobs report, and one of the major drivers is technology. Yes, and it's not shocking. I think over the past few years, that is what has been leading. Now, what would you say are the overarching themes or driving forces in the tech space this year? James?
All right. From my perspective, I think it's about being human-centric, sustainability, and change, opening to change.
Right.
So once we actually focus on enhancing this and then get people to understand, because AI, for example, which is what I'll be talking about mostly, is trained with data, and data is accumulated from different sources. So imagine a country that hasn't generated any part of those data, yet that is what is used to train AI, then it means that you are a little bit behind because your context is not being captured. And so when I speak about being, if I speak about inclusivity and user-centric and human-centric, it is all about making sure that we are involved. As a country, if we don't start using it now, our data is not being captured because we are not generating anything, and we will keep getting feedback from what others are using, right? So I think as a country, we need to have a holistic approach into using technology. I think is the way forward for Ghana.
Okay. So, Prof, what are the overarching themes for you? I mean, driving tech.
I think he's mentioned one of the critical one, human-centric, but I'm going to go to the core technical skills themselves.
Right.
How to use the technical skills, which could be in data or in using the equipments that come with it.
Right.
So that's the thing. I think that it's the blend of these two, the human-centric and the technical skills, that will shape the future of how we intend to see these things. And so maybe we'll talk about it, but if you look at the report that you mentioned, it talks, there's going to be a net positive jobs of about 93 million jobs globally.
Yeah.
But whether you have the skills to be able to tap into those, that's a different thing. And that's where conversations around reskilling and upskilling become necessary going forward.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So how have technology trends from the past few years evolved into bringing us where we are today?
I think that generally a lot of the things we are seeing aren't new. I think that they've just hit market.
Yeah.
Because for those of us who are academics, for instance, whenever you go to Google Scholar and you input in a query, you remember the Boolean queries that we were inputting to get things from Google Scholar to give us articles. Those were precursors to the AI technologies and things that we are having now.
Right.
So they've been built over time. What I'm beginning to realize is that people are now beginning to show the real world applications of these things that were generated maybe 10, 15 years into the past. But generally, I think that the market is going to significantly change and it's going to offer more opportunities And this is where we need to begin to leverage. Yeah. But I think the market is going to change significantly. That's what I think.
Right. James.
Yeah. So from my perspective, let's even look at the internet. Now everybody has internet, mostly on their phone and even computer. But when it started years ago, we were skeptical.
Right.
And so, but now seeing that almost everything is being done by the internet,
right.
That is the evolution. And AI, where it is right now, it is going nowhere. It is here to stay because billions of dollars is being invested in it. It's being led by big corporations in the United States.
Right.
And so it's just a matter of time and that developing countries, if they don't tap in, they will continue to be slaves to the system. and that is what I am really passionate about. How do we get out of that mindset and become, if we can't really produce and export physical goods, should we be able to produce and export services,
right.
which I think we should be able to do it because we are educationally driven in this country. Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's go into the key trends. Let's talk about the key trends. Now, people hear AI. What exactly is it? And you, because you are directly into AI, you should be the best person, James. So tell us, what exactly is artificial intelligence?
So I always tell people artificial intelligence is just look at it as an able assistant, the most knowledgeable human being you can think about. The professors, like academicians, look at having that person by your side, not as an enemy, but as an ally, trying to help you accomplish the things that you set to accomplish. That is the most easiest definition I'll bring to that. But if I take it more into the technological field, AI has been trained to reason and think like human beings do. As a matter of fact, this year, I expect that we'll get to a point, AI, you have three phases. We have the generative AI, we have the AGI, which is basically, some people call it super intelligence, which is supposed to reason higher than human beings. At this point, we're thinking about AI being at par. I'm thinking that by end of 2025, we will get to AGI, where AI is able to reason higher than human beings. And so the possibilities are just endless.
Now, isn't that scary, Prof?
It's not.
Exactly.
It's not at all. I mean, and that's why I was telling you that the net effect of these is positive job increments.
Okay.
It's just the dynamics of how you prepare yourself. So educational systems and training systems need to change to accommodate these things. But I don't think it's scary at all. And I always make the analogy that AI is not here to replace the human being. It's here to make the human being efficient.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. If you were a lawyer and you were supposed to go through case law for 100 years to represent your client who may be good on death row, remember, the sitting is in maybe 3 weeks. 100 years of case law. Where are you going to get it? But AI can skim through that and give you the most relevant things that match your case.
Right.
And you can save your client if he's innocent. I'm not saying he's innocent. But what I'm trying to say is that that's the kind of assistant he's talking about. The assistant is able to do a lot more than you can imagine. So that's how I view it. So it's not scary. I view it as, I remember I did some work at Temaport where when the new port came up, they brought in something called the gantry cranes and RFID technology. RFID technology is another type of AI technology which reads your car number plate to check whether you have an appointment or not before the gates open for you. So there's no human being
who come and
boss over 100 be mad, over 50 be mad. There was nothing like that, you know.
Yeah.
And it was an appointment system, simple. When you get in there, the system reads this thing, and then it checks.
But somebody just lost his job.
You see, has someone lost his job? No, I think that someone also has gained a job.
Right.
So I was talking about gantry cranes. Anyway, let me use that. In the old Temaport, you need to sit on the crane and manually operate it. What that meant is that women were eliminated automatically.
Right.
But with the gantry cranes, they are PC, sometimes even on your phones.
Yeah, you can control it.
And you are lifting tons and tons of weight, cocoa, timber. Just so, yes, the muscular guy Bole guy who used to sit there may need to upskill to be able to stay in the job. But remember that there's a young girl who is coming from the north, who all of a sudden, by the power of the internet and by the power of technology, is now able to participate in maritime work. You're getting where I'm going with this. So I don't think that the net thing is going to be a positive increment in this. What is required is that we understand the skills that are needed to succeed in an AI world.
Okay, you mentioned reskilling and upskilling. You may want to just tell us what exactly those things are, so
reskilling is horizontal.
Okay.
Meaning that you may need new skills to be able to function in your role.
Okay.
I give you an example. As an academic, at first we used to go to the library, right? And make a query from a catalog. Physical catalog in the library to get a book. Now I must learn how to reskill myself to make a query online with ChatGPT, with Otter, with whatever meeting assistant. I need to be able to make those queries. So I need to learn new skills to complement what I am doing. Upskilling, however, requires that you go up and learn skills that are higher than what you probably know now to be able to function in the world. And that's what I mean by reskilling and upskilling.
All right. Okay. We're going to come back to AI, but another key trend in the space today is blockchain. What is it?
You want to go first?
Well, blockchain, it's how I put it. So blockchain is basically another technology that started before AI. Unfortunately or fortunately, it did not get the steam that AI is getting. I think that probably it's just the fear of control, because blockchain comes to neutralize the playing field, where in the past you have control being centralized. With blockchain, it is decentralized. So banks cannot just be a control organization. You can have financial transactions on a decentralized platform, and it is verifiable. Everyone can see it. Everyone can read through it. You don't need somebody's password to get to see if government is transacting business with another country. On the blockchain, it is supposed to be true and fair, and I should be able to have access to see what is happening. Right now, you won't be able to do that. With blockchain, you should be able to do that because of the decentralization.
I see.
Yeah.
Doc, you want to touch on that?
I think blockchain's main challenge were that its early innovators failed us. If you look at the Bitcoin and crypto world, some of the people who initially led it had crisis. You know, there was a Canadian case where the guy had died, and then they could not find the keys.
Like that.
So people's investments were locked. So that didn't help the thing. And then number two, we must also understand the political economy of our world. Look, if you decentralize at the minutest level, power structures change. Control changes. And we live in a world where people must be controlled. So you must understand those are some of the crises that blockchain had. But blockchain basically was about blocks of data that moved from one point to the other in secured encryptions, basically. That enabled people to do business on several levels. So the idea of people being able to fake and change their information from one point to the other, or information decay occurring, was very minimal. And that gave power to the citizens. But that's a problem, because if I'm the government, I'm not going to like that too much. So that's that. And of course, in every system or social system, there's got to be hierarchy. And so maybe that's why it didn't live up to its promise. Unlike in the case of AI, where they need to train the algorithm. So citizen participation was very critical. And that's why AI seems to have gotten off, and everybody is using AI.
What exactly is Web3?
Web3, great one, complex and complicated. It is also a way of building applications on blockchain. So most of, so if I come back to AI, right, most of the AI tools are built using OpenAI, Gemini, or Llama, or other AI models, right? So you build these applications on leveraging AI models from, reputable organizations like OpenAI, Google, and others. With Web3, you need a blockchain infrastructure to build that. It just helps you to further build decentralized applications, especially financial applications. So we call it like DeFi, decentralized financial applications and other tools. It's just much easier on Web3 because the good thing is that with Web3, you can leverage the blockchain and connect it to existing infrastructure that we already have. So it is not just being in the blockchain world, it is just linking the two, which should make it the adoption much quicker and easier. But I don't see that also pulling the steam as it's supposed to be. But that is really where Web3 comes in.
Now from your conversation, it looks, are they competing? Because I think they are all separate things, isn't it?
Well, they're supposed to work in synergy.
Okay.
That is how I say it. Because without that synergy, there is going to be disjointed organization.
Right.
Yeah.
I think just to add to that, you know, from a market perspective, look, all ideas are competing for space.
Okay.
So multiple variations of the same idea emerge. I mean, when you started, you talked about Blockbuster, Netflix, but even you forgot Real.com.
Yeah.
And the analogy you gave about payments and those things, you remember when we used to rent bicycles, and when your time was over and the man would collect you know, the point is that in any market, there's a competition for ideas.
Right.
So these are competing for ideas. And so you see that little tweaks and variations begin to occur, and they all come with different names. But really, what is it? It's just technological change that is occurring. The question is which one will gain prominence. And as it is now, the AI is the one that is leading the pack.
Wow. Okay, so another trend, we're going to come back to all of these things. We'll go into details. We have some time.
Okay.
Another trend is quantum computing. Quantum computing. I've seen it a lot of times. I'm sure some of those who are listening to us right now have also seen it. What exactly is quantum computing? Let me start.
You go first with that.
I mean, quantum computing is emerging from the explosion of data.
Okay.
You know, traditionally, we did not have a lot of, I wouldn't say we didn't have a lot of data. I'll be cautious in saying that I'm an academic, but I should say there was data that was not being curated.
Okay.
But now there is so much data that's being curated. So the question then is, how do we begin to use a lot of these data? And that's where quantum computing emerged. So people are beginning to store servers with clouds and clouds of data that can be mined.
Okay.
But that one, big data analytics, then begins to emerge. In fact, a lot of the training that is being used on AI is emerged from quantum computing.
That is very correct.
Because AI needs to be trained. Most people think that AI just emerges. No, AI needs to be trained, and a lot of that data is coming from quantum. And where is the quantum data coming from? It's coming from the purchases you make at the mall. So even when you go on Amazon and you are buying, you know, it keeps making suggestions to you and those things. So it's AI leveraging the data of people who have bought certain things and then beginning to make some suggestions to you on that.
You want to touch it?
He's put it right there exactly. And quantum computing is supposed to help analyze vast amount of data, just as he put it. But with AI in the case right now, I'm looking forward to seeing how that fighting for space because AI is really leveraging quantum computing, but doing it in a point where, as an individual, you feel you are in control of instructing AI to produce whatever you want. Quantum computing, it's not just open to the general public. Everybody cannot have access to it. You know, so that is the difference. And I still see AI winning that game because I feel I can just go in and tell it to do something or help me achieve something without really learning anything. I will type in English or any other language. So just the user friendliness is what is empowering AI to be.
I'm going to just chip in on this one. So you see, and this is where I see the synergies between AI and quantum computing or quantum data. Maybe not the computing, but the quantum data. Because AI, you know, what makes AI easy is that you don't need to learn code. But in quantum computing and quantum data analytics, you need coding language.
Right.
So either it's Python, Aura, Gradle, Large Stata, SPSS. You need to. So it's not the click interface anymore. You must learn how to code, and that is years and years of what experience to do that.
Yeah.
AI simplifies all of that and says, type it in normal text language. I'll convert it into a code. Go into the data, mine it, and give you the information you want. And that's where I see the complementarities occurring. Because the challenge is that otherwise, sometimes we've had situations where AI begins to dream.
Right.
And that becomes problematic. And AI dreaming, if you are not someone who knows the information also, you may miss it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, so we're going to come back to all of that. There's also what we call sustainability in technology. And then we also have the 5G. Which ones, what can you say about any of these? I don't know. You just pick one and then Doc will also pick one. Then we can continue. 5G and beyond? Or
okay, yeah.
sustainability tech.
All right. So I'll pick 5G just because without a stable and sustainable internet infrastructure, none of this will make any sense.
Right.
You cannot use AI without an internet. And if you don't have stable internet at where you are, even in Accra, some part of Accra, still the internet is really slow. 5G is an enhancement on 4G. I would take that any day.
Right.
So I think it is in the right direction, and it is all here to empower us to make that change. All these things are helping us do whatever we already do it better, faster, and basically better and faster.
Better and faster. Okay, Prof.
I mean, 5G sustainable technology.
Yeah.
I think that what is sustainable? It's anything that wins in the market.
Right.
They say that the victors tell history, and I think that the issue of sustainability is very relative, and my wife is going to kill me on this because she's an environmentalist. But I think that it's whatever wins in the market.
Right.
And I think that these things are going to be sustainable if the market accepts it. And currently, those that have been accepted are going to go on and be perfected. What I see is that they will be replaced by newer things. It's human nature. Look, we used to cook over stone, dry, and now we came to the wood, and then we made stove, then charcoal, then gas, and now electric.
Right.
We're moving on. Right now, we have what? Air fryer.
Yeah.
So things would only change and get better over time. As for the skeptics, Nokia told us poignantly, we did nothing and we died. So I think that is very instructive. One of the quotes I like very much says that a man may move himself, or a man may be moved by a king. That man may move himself. He may also decide to stay where he is. But in both cases, there's no guarantees. So you're better off moving anyway.
Right.
You get it.
Right.
So I don't think that the skeptics about 5G and it's from the devil and 666. Look as a young person in the year 99 when we were told Y2K. I don't know if you remember Y2K.
That the stone is going
to stone. And they said all numbers have ended because at the time, computing at the time, the numbers was going to end 1999. The concept of 2000 wasn't there. So we needed to reprogram all computers. And I remember back then, the world is coming to an end. And I remember a woman and the family, they sold everything, ate everything. The next day they were alive.
And I think that was what happened somewhere to 2020. People thought that was the end of the year.
Look, there will always be people who come up. Skeptics are part of the world.
Right.
When Jesus Christ came, is he not Joseph and Mary's son? There will always be skeptics.
Right.
But I think that the early adopters and the benefits that the early adopters gain is what matters. Look, a CD is a CD. How you earn the CD legally, it doesn't matter. So anything that enhances the bottom line is what we are looking to work with.
Wow. Okay. So If you just tuned in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Raphael Nitrebi Hammond. And I'm having a conversation with Professor George Achampon and Chairman James Akpo. We are talking about technology, what to expect in 2025. Now, James, you know, AI has dominated the conversations. Yes, and you rightly, I mean, you just rightly alluded to that fact that AI has dominated the conversations. What are the most significant advancements in AI this year?
One just happened about 24 hours ago.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, Open AI. You know, for AI, one of the issues we've had with it is memory retainers, right? So you can say something, close the app, go and come back and still, okay, I want to continue the conversation we had 3 days ago. Can you remember when we spoke about this? It should be able to remember everything. Now that is possible. You know, right now, you don't even have to just think about how to type something. If you have a phone and you can take a picture, or you have a picture on your phone, you can actually upload that into AI platform and ask it to tell you about that picture or image.
Right.
Let's say you're an artist, you draw, and you have done something for someone, another client is interested, you want to make variations to it. You can it just makes your work very easy. But apart from that, this year, especially in developing economies, because like the US and the other places, we already seen that happening, and I've done that for multiple clients. Right now we have agentic AI, where AI is able to perform tasks on your behalf. Right now you're hosting this show. If somebody sends you an email right now, who is going to check it for you? You can have your AI assistant be checking that for you. Okay. Your job is to host a show, not to be checking emails or calling people to show up on the show.
Right.
Your assistant or AI should be able to help you. We want to empower people to do what they do best and just focus on doing that specifically, you know.
Wow. So those are some of the major, I mean, the significant trends that we have seen in AI. Doc, Prof, do you have some to mention?
Oh, I think the applications are immense.
Right.
And I usually want to focus on things that emphasize me or things that I work with. One of the things is that, for instance, I do a lot of meetings.
Okay.
A lot of meetings. And look, my AI assistant attends the meetings even when I'm not there.
Yeah.
Takes
Really?
notes and summarizes it. Where my name was mentioned, highlights it, action points I need to perform, it lets me know.
I see.
Where I need to ask questions, and I was not in the meeting. It's in my calendar. So immediately the meeting is up, it attends the meeting. That, and even when I have a physical meeting, I can put it on record. It will record, summarize, transcribe, give me action points.
Wow.
And grades the quality of the meeting.
Okay.
Says that this meeting was not efficient, this was efficient, and scores it.
Wow.
That's what it does for me. That aside, I do research. I can have data. And I look at the data and I say, okay, I'm not sure which theoretical direction I should go with this. So I input a portion of the data. It will give me all the options and say, I think that this is the direction you should go. Then I will take it up and query it a bit more and build on it. It will even tell me which literature sources I should deploy. That's the power of AI. Now, to some of my clients, I work with a lot of SMEs and young people and related.
Okay.
Look, when they come, you want to draft a little contract between you and someone. You input it. It gives you a basic template. Then you can edit it quickly. And if you give it, the more details you give it, the better the contract you get.
Oh.
So then an SME that cannot afford a lawyer doesn't need a lawyer.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah.
And it can have contracts in several forms. You are looking to do a proposal to a bank for a loan. You input. And remember, if you've been chatting to the AI for a very long time, kind of has some data. So immediately you talk, it's able to generate that proposal quickly to fit.
Right.
So instead of going for a business development consultant, you have this.
Prof, so you mentioned some, I mean, your AI assistants and all of that. Do you mind telling us what AI assistants those are?
Maybe
Just
he
something.
should
Yeah, I
go
was
for
even
it.
going to add to that, so
Okay.
maybe this will answer your question.
Alright,
So, on our website platform, iSenseHub.ai, when you go there, there is one phone number there. The phone number, when you call, it's not going to be answered by a human being. It's going to be answered by an AI assistant, an AI agent.
Right.
It speaks like you want it to speak. I can literally clone my voice and train it with my voice. It will speak like I'm speaking. I can use any other voice, speak like a human being. So when you call, it will tell you whatever question. Let's say you want to buy a product or you don't even know about our services. It will take you through everything on the platform. We have a huge platform, so many products and services. Apart from that, if you need to book an appointment with any of us, that same AI on the phone call will take the details that you gave it and book the appointment on your behalf. It will go ahead and send you a text message of for you to rate its performance. So let's say you're a business, you want to have a lot of reviews on Google or Facebook or whatever it is. You want people to give you 5-star review and things like that.
Right.
That AI is going to be perfect because it's been trained on your business data. It knows your business better than you know it yourself, right? So after I give you that performance, it will ask you to rate its performance. And if you agree with, okay, I can send you a link on Google. I'll send you my Google review link. It will send you a text message. You click on it, the link opens right on your phone, and you give it a 5-star rating.
Right.
Your business owner, now you are getting more reviews on Google without you doing anything. I am on a show right now. All I will see is there's an appointment notification on my phone that I have a meeting with a client in 2 hours' time. AI is that able assistant. I can train it to be my social media manager, where I give it a content calendar for one month.
Right.
Every day, 2 a.m., I want you to go and post something on my Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. It will do that. On our platform, there is a way to train your AI personally. Everybody has access to train their own AI. So we call it brand. You just train it with your brand, your website, what you do, your scope of work, and all those things. So when you're asking question, you don't have to give it that detail again. You have cut about 60 or 70% of the work is already done, and you have to do it only once. That the efficiency we are talking about, that is it.
Right.
It is about attending to customers' needs at all time. If you have a business right now, let's say you're a consultant, and your business is not running 24 hours. The president is talking about 24-hour economy. It's been there long ago. It might not be in Ghana, but other developing world.
Okay.
AI will make that happen a little bit much easier. You just need a customer support line, and your business is 24 hours.
Wow. Okay, so that is for business. I like the thoughts you guys are sharing, and it's making the conversation even more interesting. Let's talk a bit about the blockchain, all right? No, but before that, maybe AI. You are speaking about research, and that's in education. And then you also spoke a bit about business. You also mentioned SMEs, at some point. How is it affecting finance and healthcare? Can we talk a bit about that? How is AI affecting finance? What are the things that, are influencing these industries?
Okay, I'm going to give you an example with AI. So I run an innovation space.
Okay.
And one of my students in infectious pathogens and virology designed an app, basically, that has been trained to look at a skin pigmentation and indicate the likelihood of getting skin cancer. Purely AI driven.
Yeah, wow. Exactly.
And it's unbelievable, the technology behind it. And so I asked the guy, how do you get it? He said, look, I have tons and tons of African data on skin relationship to skin cancer. And he did it. Yeah. And it's the AI that is driving. So they keep training it with more and more and more data. And it gets better and better. The last time I checked, he said they had reached 80% efficiency. And they are looking to build it to about 99%. So in health, it's doing fantastic. I don't know if there is any others, but AI is going to transform. View AI as an enabler.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, once you view it as an enabler, there's no economy, no system that AI cannot play a role in. Yeah.
And to add to his right, look at telemedicine. Right now, when you're sick or you need to see a doctor or a nurse, you have to physically go to a clinic or a hospital. But it is not everything that is really necessary to go to the hospital. You should be able to speak with a medical professional using an app because they've already collected your data. You've been there before.
Okay.
They have all your genetics and everything.
Right.
If you have a headache, they can really tap into the system, leveraging AI to make recommendations to you without you moving from your house. You know, these are some of the impact that AI seek to bring into the world. Apart from healthcare, I know agriculture is another one, and maybe we'll touch on that as well.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. I mean,
Right.
I think it is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Delpy just joined us in studio. He's a digital creator and a tech
content
creator. How different are they? Digital creator and tech content.
I mean, digital creator just summarizes everything. I mean, tech content is just the niche of it, yeah. Because it's, I mean, as a creator, you need to have a specific niche you're built around.
Right.
And tech is the niche, so it's just a sublet.
Okay, great. So we're having a conversation on tech trends to expect in 2025. And we have spoken extensively about AI and how it is an enabler and how it is helping businesses and all of that. I want to go into businesses really, I mean, even more closely. But how are you doing? Sorry.
I'm good. Just Accra traffic and stress, you know. I'm good, I'm great.
We understand. All right, so let's get into the conversation on how AI is helping businesses. Now, how can SMEs prepare themselves very well for the change that is happening in the world of tech? Maybe Delpy, you want to, if you have something to share, you can. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, we know, like you said, AI is an enabler,
Right.
and the main function is to promote effectiveness. Okay. So as artificial intelligence, what it's going to do is to make our work easier. Instead of having to do the normal daily jobs the daily work, you just allow AI to handle it for you. So it makes it much more easier for you to focus on other stuff you probably have time for.
Right.
One thing people are mostly scared of is the fact that AI is going to take our jobs, AI is going to, replace us and stuff. And even though that is the possibility for businesses, it's much more of an enhancer for businesses to look at than focus on it taking your job.
Right.
Because most of the AI platforms or AI services or systems we have in place need human access. Like
Right.
human beings need to operate it for it to work. You know, as a business, let's talk about chatbots, for instance.
Okay.
So a business owner would initially have to pick calls from a number of people, every time having to answer calls, talking to people manually, but needing to also have to provide inventory for whatever you're selling or whatever you're dealing the business in, right? But you can't do this alone. You'd have to normally involve other people by employing people, which is, more cost. But there are chatbots now, and these will probably have been existing for some time now, but just because now AI is a thing, we're all, having a fair share of what it is. But chatbots have been existent for a while. So what you can do with these chatbots that are powered by artificial intelligence is to allow them to respond to your customers, right? It's not going to be as effective as you would naturally, but what it can do is to save you some time off, to let your customers or whoever you're dealing in the business with know that, at least you'd come receive some message at the end and they know how to respond immediately. Now this cuts down the time for you to process other stuff, work on them, and make sure you get them efficiently, as well as attending to your customers and not leaving them hanging. Because let's be honest, and then the person is not responding, you're sending so many messages, you're not getting responses, you move on to a different client.
Right.
So basically, that's one avenue the SMEs can look at.
Right. So, but what steps should they take, right, to adopt and identify relevant technology AI in this particular world now?
Awesome. So this is something I've actually written a book on. So the steps we have to start with first having a needs assessment.
Okay.
You have to examine your organization, or your business organization, look at places or sections where you have repetitive actions being taken. If you have someone whose job is to take one thing from one place and put it at the other place, you don't need that. That is not value creation.
Right.
If you have a product or service, your goal should be to add value to it. And everybody that is working for you should be adding value to that product or service. Having a customer call, doing sales and marketing is not value creation. Building a product is value creation.
Right.
But you need those things to make your product or service go out there to meet the right people. So do that needs assessment and see how you can empower your team by helping them, by taking away the repetitive tasks. making them focus on the more strategic things.
Right.
You know, so once you have that needs assessment, you can, if you can't do it yourself, you can partner with a knowledgeable company that is into AI or technology that can help you do that needs assessment and give you product recommendations and help you with the implementations.
Prof.
I mean, whilst you was talking and whilst you asked the question, I was just reflecting and thinking about the women in Medina Market.
Yeah.
And asking myself, if you look at the Ghanaian economy or most African economies, majority are informal.
That's true.
How can they benefit from AI? Is what was ringing in my head. I'm not sure I have the correct answers, but I think that it offers, that's where the combination of the web, the AI and things can come.
Right.
And social media, I'm very happy Delphi is here, can help leverage on that. Today we are buying from a lot of those people from social media.
Yeah.
So the question is, can AI begin to help them with their social media and then also take the orders for them and deliver it on their phone? Because now a lot of them have smartphones and deliver it on their phone, so they know as soon as he wants to buy this at this price. And for me, what then is necessary is just a change of mindset.
Right.
I'm going to use TikTok as an example, or maybe let me even use WhatsApp as an example. So my mom, when I was, every day she would be like, oh, come and show me how to do this. And they wondered why I was always laughing. But once I showed her how to use TikTok, sometimes it's 6 p.m. she's forgotten she's not made dinner. What I'm trying to say is that maybe it's just the exposure and awareness to the very basic, because we make an implicit assumption that everybody is lettered and everybody is at a certain level. But I don't think that's the case. And so we need to give all those people the chance, explain it to them in practical ways that these people can also participate. So that it's not like, because what is beginning to happen is that it becomes like a millennial generation alpha context.
Right.
That is being played. That is being played in that sense. Thank you.
Yeah, and can I add one more thing? I think to add up to that, right? Couple of it was just like yesterday, last night actually. I have a friend. She's been following me for a long time. I mean, sees all my posts and things like that. She makes African print clothing. She is very good at doing. She could design these things and make it look so beautiful. I was checking her WhatsApp status and she posted all these things. Actually, somebody, she got a contract from someone and so for all these people for their wedding. I look at this and I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. So I tested her. Do you know you could be selling this globally, right? Without lifting a finger.
Right.
And he said, if you're interested, let me know. And then she replied, I'm so interested. But she's been following me for 1 year. She's been seeing everything I post about AI and how to revolutionize industry. So some people think that the cost involved in leveraging these technologies are very huge, that they can't even afford it.
Let me give you the term. Oh, we they say namafo ade. You know the way they say it. Oh, namafo no hotel mo na mo bibi mo mpe bibi aye bibi o jani phone. So you know, so it's that mindset shift that is needed to revolutionize things. Because I can tell you that if our parents can accept this, there is no limit to which they will not go to push this to their kids. And you talk about your friend. Can you imagine AI creating a catalog for that person? Right. And posting that catalog and pricing it. And it's a game changer all of a sudden. If I look at the women I work with in Krobo Dumasi who make beads, look, they sell the beads for 10 cedis, 20 cedis. But there's a corporation called Global Mamas selling it in the US for hundreds of dollars.
Right.
So, but AI can create that catalog for you, post those catalogs, and then link it to your bank account, and people buy it and you have your money.
Right.
And it can tell you which ones are the best-selling ones, sort of do a data disaggregation that helps you to be able to do all of that. Who is buying where, what are their characteristics? All of those things are information AI can support you with.
Well, so how can businesses leverage these technologies to gain a competitive advantage, especially in this challenging economic climate? Delphi.
Education. most of these things, like you said, they're not expensive. But people have the perception that acquiring some of these things are quite expensive. If we're going around, and this is something I wanted to do last year, but I couldn't, going around schools, these things are not really taught as much as possible in schools for people to get educated on the idea of these things. So it's much more easier to learn some of these things online. Everybody has a smartphone now. I don't know who doesn't. Even if you have a YAM, you still have a smartphone on the side. But we need to leverage on these things to understand how the technology works, what it's more about, and how one can take advantage of that. But doing that is to expose yourself to these things, right? Get knowledge in it and understand that it's not probably as expensive as it is. ChatGPT is free. There's a free version and there's a paid version. But people are leveraging more on the free version of ChatGPT to build code, to edit code, take out bugs from these codes, to get prompts. Sometimes it even replies my emails for me.
Really?
So when I use a free version, I don't pay for it. I can pay for it actually, but I feel like what I'm using it for doesn't require me to pay as much as possible.
Right.
So you can leverage on these things by not having to spend so much. Of course, there are instances where you'd want to pay more. For platforms like HubSpot and the rest, especially for your business, you'd have to pay a fee. But if it's going to benefit your business in the long run, I think you should take the chance and do it. So they're not expensive. It's not like they're not expensive. They have expensive tools, let me be honest with you. But they have more affordable ones that could suit almost every business. You get it?
Yeah.
Small scale SMEs are like more on the small scale level. They're now coming up, right? So you'd want to not spend so much money on things that would end up, crippling you or sending you bankrupt. So just a bit of research, more of understanding how these tools work, education, and then practicing it.
Right.
I mean, I want to piggyback because
Because
I come from entrepreneurship and innovation, and this is why I want to talk to the youth.
Okay.
Look, that informality, the informal economy, the farmers that we have, those with yams. And you say a lot of people don't have, I can tell a lot of people have yams. Because in the rural areas, they are not connected, but they have great products, great services.
Yam as a mobile phone.
Mobile phone, yam, yeah.
Because when you talk about farmers, you talk about yam.
Yeah. Okay, mobile phone yams.
Okay.
So this is where the youth can serve as aggregators and market connectors and create jobs for themselves.
Right.
So if I know 10, 20 seamstresses in my neighborhood, I can take their catalog, the things they've done, take pictures of them, post them, create a web platform. People make the order, I take from them, I supply, I earn a living.
Right.
Without lifting a finger. Just by the power of these tools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So those are very basic things that young people can leverage. And these are the things I am passionate about.
Okay.
That instead of just being on social media, commercializing those things, basic things. Yeah,
And that's something James is very much passionate about. James,
no, he's eating. When he's saying that, it's like I'm itching because it makes no sense to sit in Ghana and still have educated youth unemployment. It makes no sense.
No, Unemployed Graduate Association.
But they are no more.
It makes no sense because you're on Facebook all the time, you're on Instagram all the time, all the time. And the beautiful thing is that you don't even have to create a product or service yourself. Like he's saying, we are a productivity-powered platform. We have something called affiliates. You can literally, like as you were saying, you can go to whatever take an order from the person, send it to the company so they can do it, and you get about 25% commission. Let's say you get an order for $1,000 and you get 25% of that is $250. If you convert that into CDs, you should not be unemployed. If you can read, write, and you have a smartphone or a computer, it makes no sense.
Get into tech, eh?
It's easy.
Right. So let me come back to Delpy. Now, are there specific industries? Now, we're still on opportunities for business. Are there specific industries and regions that stand to benefit the most from these trends in 2025? Delpy.
I mean, I don't think there are specific industries that are best. About like my professor was saying, maybe the people who wouldn't benefit as much would be those in the rural areas who aren't really exposed to technology. So those would be an exemption. But I think as long as you have a smartphone, right, you fall under the category of being a beneficiary because, like I keep on saying, it's out there. Everything is out there, right? I'm a content creator, right, and I didn't go to school for this. Right?
Okay.
I didn't go.
What did you read in school?
I am a laboratory technologist by profession. Yes, I was a quality control analyst at Voltic. So I didn't go to school to learn how to create content online or do anything.
Right.
It was through self-taught learning and understanding.
Okay.
That's why I keep on saying that I don't think any industry is specifically more of a beneficiary. That's my perspective. I do think though that to a certain, dissolved instance, there's going to be some industries that would highly benefit, like maybe the tech industries, people who are more into fintech, people who are into, other stuff would have a much more high advantage. But now we are privileged. Knowledge is everywhere. It's easy for us to get access to some of these things. So it depends on how you pick it up and use it. And that's why I keep on saying that you'd only lose the job if you don't find the tool that would complement the job you're working for, to know how to use it and apply it in your job. Right? Everybody is using, I would always use ChatGPT because it's the basis of everything. Everybody is using ChatGPT, knows how to prompt, because before you can even use generative AI platforms like ChatGPT, you need to understand prompt engineering. Now, your workplace is requiring you to work more efficiently. Instead of having to compile so many files, documents, respond to emails, and do all that with so much time, you can quickly just go on to ChatGPT, allow it, prompt it the right way, and then get the result you want, and then you just need to copy and paste. You'd have to do proofreading, right?
Okay.
But generally, you just have to, most of the time, if you check through, you edit the stuff, and you're good with it, just copy and paste it. Saves you so much time, right, to do other work. So I don't think there's a specific industry that is beneficiary. Again, fintech and more people in the tech industries might have a first-hand exposure to most of these things before anyone else. But so far as you are picking up the tool and using it as much as you can efficiently, you still stand a chance of winning.
Okay. So what are the skills that are very essential in a tech-driven workplace? What are the skills?
Okay. Still leveraging AI. Now the requirement is basically, it's not even there any longer. So, for example, Dapi was talking about how to prompt or communicate with AI to get the kind of results you want. And people think that prompting is you have to go to school to become a prompt engineer to be able to use AI. That is not right.
Okay.
If I were to be your assistant or a business partner, I work with you. If you wanted to instruct me or ask me to do something for you, give me an assignment, what will you do? You will say, okay, James, I would like you to write a report to ABC. I want you to probably do this. Just say it just like you're speaking with me. Say that to the AI. And you don't even have to know how to type. It has a voice command, so you can just put the mic on and say it. This thing is not hard.
Well, this is still Business Breakfast on Zed 101.5 with me, Raphael Nitrebi Hammond. And we're having a conversation on what tech trends to expect in 2025. And I'm joined in studio by Professor George Achampon, Chairman James Akpo, and then Delpi. Emmanuel Obobifianco, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So we're coming to the end of the conversation. But really, what emerging technologies should we pay more attention to?
Well, let me go first. AI is still emerging, even as it is right now.
Okay.
It is still emerging every day, new things. So we being developers, we just can't sleep, because by the time we wake up, there is a new functionality or capability that is available. So what you have to do is think about, okay, with this functionality, what can I build with it? Right. So AI is still evolving. Internet of Things is there. With internet, AI, and blockchain, the future is great. It looks great.
Okay, there'll be.
I didn't know he was a developer. He was like in the building space.
Yeah,
business. There was this idea that came in mind. As into programming and stuff, you look at problems you could solve, right? One thing I realized is most people want to buy tech. Okay, they want to purchase things, but they want to do it on hire purchase.
Yeah.
And I only know one company here in Ghana that does that. So because it's already, I can't really mention it. But I realize it's a technology they use to get people to purchase their stuff and still get their money back. Because let's use the Momo loan as an example. Or how do you call it? Quick loan. Yes. People just get a SIM card, use it for a period of time, be able to pick a loan. They just pick the loan and then the SIM card. So imagine having to leverage that on tech, right? You give somebody a smartphone and then they say they pay small. They pay to a certain percentage and they don't even pay back. But this platform actually has a system built in their phone, on their phones.
Right.
That gives you the chance. So the payment plan is like pay an amount every day till you are done, or every month till you are done. Depends on which one you go for. But what happens here is, if you don't pay, let's say you're paying on a daily basis, and you don't pay for a specific day, every app on the phone is locked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every application is locked.
Yeah.
You can't use any application apart from the app that allows you to pay.
I think I've seen that. I think I know that company.
You get it?
Yeah.
And this is a smart. This is we can find out that even though it would have to do with some form of machine learning, and there still is a bit of artificial intelligence in there if you look at it critically.
Yeah.
Because how will the phone itself know that this app or this person hasn't paid?
Yeah.
So let me just log these apps.
I mean, we did a program, I can't also mention specifics, but where we gave laptops to some young people.
Okay.
But in return, you were supposed to complete a course program in digital literacy. And if you did not complete it, we just locked the PC out.
Oh. And
to unlock it, you needed to bring it back to us.
So you're forcing them to learn.
You get it? So, and it's a very, it's not surprising. It's something that has been around for a very long time.
Right.
So we're just triangulating the data from the course website and connecting it to the firmware of the PC. I mean, for me, I think that, and maybe I'm looking at it from impact or consequence of new technologies, and that's where my interest typically is.
Right.
I am not particularly like James, always looking for the new things per se, but I'm beginning to ask questions around how do you begin to leverage these things for empowerment.
Okay.
And those are the kinds of things that I'm interested in. And look, we've done it across multiple platforms. There's a platform that we use to farm maize, connecting banks, financial institutions to market in 90 days, and all the service providers, and everybody gets paid in 90 days.
Wow.
And there's no cost, not a cost to the provider, and everybody eats, if I can say that. Just leveraging technology, because it signals the guy who has a tractor that it's time to go and plow the land, the seed supplier, the irrigation system guy, everybody is connected. And then by the time the product hits the market, everybody's bank is credited.
Right.
That is automation and optimization.
Simple. Very simple. And whenever there are bugs, we find ways to fix them, and then we improve continuously. So I think that technology is here for us. And as young people, we have an advantage. We were born, not BBC, born after computer, BAC. So we should be able to leverage on this.
Okay, so just before we go, unfortunately, we probably might have to do, producer, we might have to do like a part 2 of this conversation, because there are more things. We want to talk about the ethical considerations. We want to talk about some of the specifics in line with the AIs and all of that we have to learn. We could even go into the blockchain and all of that, because the conversation was very interesting. But just before we go, I know, Prof, you have something coming up. You have an event coming up.
Yes, I have a radio program
in
coming
1
up.
minute.
Yes, and basically the program is to empower the youth, to leverage things like this to create jobs for themselves. Because the idea that there are no jobs, there's no money is ridiculous. The opportunities for young people are immense, but I think that they have to learn themselves, build themselves on their own. It is not what you learn in school that makes you money. That's when everybody must put in their head.
Okay. So when is it happening? When is it?
It's on Thursdays, Zed, at between 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Thursdays.
And we are starting on the role of higher educational institutions to support young people. And we'll present opportunities that young people would get, live opportunities that they can leverage.
So this Thursday, make sure you tune in at 2 o'clock to 3
next
p.m.
week,
next week. Okay, next week, Thursday, yes. 2 to 3. Prof. George Achampong will be here to tell you more about how you can leverage these technologies. And then you also have a program coming up.
Yeah, so it's the Zed Tech Show on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Starting from the 29th at 1 o'clock p.m.
Okay.
I'll be talking more about technology, obviously, and share insights on how to use your smartphones, laptops, tips and tricks generally anything about technology that could help make the lives of each and everyone easier.
And starting on 29th, Wednesdays at 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
So please, if you're listening to us on Wednesdays from next week, we're going to have conversations with Delpi, Zed Tech, right? And then Professor George on Thursdays at
Youth
2
Link.
p.m. Youth Link, right? Very, very important. You know, Zed actually seeks to promote young people, the businesses that we are doing and all of that, and we are promoting technology as well, so you don't have to miss these conversations. Now, James, finally, I want you to talk to businesses in line with embracing technology. What businesses should do, and then help you talk to individuals, and then Prof, you talk to government.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, business owners, let's talk. Your prices are based on the cost that you incur. If you're able to optimize your processes, your cost becomes lower.
Yeah.
It means your prices will drop, or else you make more profit, which works that is what business is for.
Right.
As James Akpo, what we do is tailored services.
Okay.
I'll come into your business, look at what you're doing, look at where the bottlenecks are, and try to remove it, optimize your processes so that you don't have to do a lot of the things manually.
Okay.
Focus on doing what your core values are, which is producing products and services.
Right. Okay, Delpi, individuals. Talk to individuals.
I always push for this, that you always need to make sure you leverage on the technology you have in your hand, right? It's one of the best things you could ever come across. And unfortunately, some of us weren't lucky to get this when we were in school. So now that we all have these things, we should just make good use of it and then not only make calls with it, but also explore the advantages of it. Some people just get these new iPhones, these new smartphones just to flex with it, but there's more power it can offer than just using it for pictures and basic stuff.
Right. So use it more, beyond all the things that you're doing now. Okay. Prof, talk to government for me.
I think government has started well
by
renaming it the Ministry of Communications and Digital Technology.
Right.
It's a step in the right direction. But I think we need to move beyond the semantics and move into the action. And what it does it? A lot of our schools and secondary schools do not even have computer labs. That's the starting point. They do not have access to internet. The access and cost of internet is ridiculous. In fact, I put up infrastructure in my house to set up internet for myself, to have high-speed internet, and I was paying in excess of 15,000 cedis. How many people can afford that? So that becomes the prohibition.
Right.
So I think government should work to make internet a bit more accessible and cost-friendly to a lot more people, and make these available in the junior high schools and the senior high schools, so that it becomes second nature. Once this becomes second nature, all the other things shall be added, if I can say that.
All right. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Unfortunately, we couldn't continue the conversation even deeper, but we hope to have you again some other time. James, thank you. James is into AI, so if you want to check him out, jamesakpo.com. Right? Yes, you can check him. And Delpi is on Instagram at Delpi1. Yes, and then Prof, George, you can also reach out to Prof on social media. And that brings us to the end of today's show here on Business Breakfast on Zed. Thank you very much for spending your morning with me, Raphael Nitrebi Hammond. I hope you've enjoyed the insights, the updates, and the conversations as much as I've always enjoyed bringing them to you. Don't forget to join us tomorrow morning at exactly 6 a.m. for another exciting show. Until then, as always, stay informed and stay inspired. See you tomorrow.